What's good, y'all? Welcome to 90s Till Infinity Friday Night Live. I am Alite and
And I'm Riz. And welcome.
Connoisseur.
Thank you.
Yeah, so this is a high praise production. This is the hip hop podcast that talks about albums from old and new and brings them all together with the perspective of 90s OGs.
Right.
And the purpose of the podcast is not only to walk through these albums track for track, beat for beat, lyric for lyric, but it's also to give them the certified OG fresh meter 5 CDs.
Right.
So far, only one album has gotten it.
And that was NWA
For Life album. Today's album, we've been talking back and forth about this for a while. What kind of album should we do? What kind of album should we do?
Right.
And you said soundtrack.
Right, because here at 90s Till Infinity, we like to mix it up. And we just we want to do hip hop in every kind of facet, right?
Yeah, sure.
So we've done female artists.
Yep.
We've done an old school West Coast group.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a new school kind of all coast and Tyler.
Yep.
And
we did the massive hit maker.
And of course, yeah. So now we were thinking, okay, what direction next? So we thought of a couple of different subjects, and then we agreed that a soundtrack is very important, especially in a hip hop culture.
Yeah.
A soundtrack, like there's so many, there's not that many hip hop movies, but all of them are almost iconic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the soundtracks, I don't want to say made the movies,
right,
but because music videos were so prevalent, you would see a song from a soundtrack and see the music video,
right,
and they would kind of show you clips of the movie, be like, oh, that looks so good.
Right.
So music would really sell.
It's true.
The actual the movie itself.
You would be equally excited for the soundtrack as for the movie. Now that doesn't really nobody checks for the sound. I mean, I don't even know if there's still urban movies that are being made, but Black Panther had a soundtrack.
I think that's
on it, right?
Yeah, and I think that's because they gave it all to TDE, right? They gave the whole thing to TDE, and you guys did the whole soundtrack.
But I mean, it's not what it was back in the 90s and the early 2000s, when every urban movie had an accompanying soundtrack, which was pretty dope for the most part. You like songs that were bangers. So that's what we're doing today.
If you had to think of one song that would be like the prototype soundtrack song, what's the first song that comes to mind?
Prototype hip hop
movie soundtrack song. What's the first one that comes to your mind? You're like, ooh, that stands out right away.
Ooh, wow.
And if you have one, let us know in the comments.
You're putting me on the spot here.
Yeah,
you go.
Yeah, I'll share mine. So the first thing that comes to my mind is "Know the Ledge."
Dude.
European Rakim.
Nice.
I don't think I've ever heard a song match a movie so perfectly.
You're right. You're right. Especially in that scene when they're running up the steps. And remember that?
Man,
yeah.
So good.
You
feel like you were in New York.
It's true.
Big time.
I would say keep the heads ringing.
Oh, great shit!
Yeah, I don't know why, but that kind of stands out to me as far as something about it.
Yeah, and it's funny. I don't know how you feel about that song now, but when I go and look at that song now, I'm like, man, Dre's pen game is trash.
It's not great. It got better when M came into the picture.
Call me an astronaut.
Right. But you know what? His production was so good that it overshadowed the weak pen.
Absolutely.
Right.
But
you're not wrong. The early 90s, or that separation from Death Row up until Eminem came into the picture, big drop off. Like East Coast, West Coast killer, that was terrible. Music was good.
And on this soundtrack too, there's a couple of monumental pieces, but there's also a couple of solid, maybe even 0 rated tracks.
You're not wrong. There's a lot of filler tracks.
So what album are we talking about today?
Today we're good at plethora of soundtracks in the hip hop universe, but we decided, so you guys were really keen on the Friday soundtrack, right? That's what the majority wanted.
Yeah.
So we were going to go with that, but me and Alite, we talked, and we were like, the Friday movie is a lot more monumental than the actual soundtrack. The soundtrack's not bad. It's got a couple of really good songs.
Yes.
Keep Your Heads Ringing. The Time Track Friday from Ice Cube. Like Crew, Chimama.
Yeah.
Cypress Hill, Inhale, Excel. So there was a couple of songs, but it's still not. So then we kind of went through our catalog and be like, what is what's got a lot of bangers on it.
Yeah.
And we kind of narrowed it down, and then we thought Murder Was the Case. The first soundtrack on Death Row Records. A lot of people thought it was deep cover, but it's not deep cover. The song. Oh, right. Sorry. Shout out to Sham. It was the second soundtrack on Death Row Records. Above the Rim was the first. So the second soundtrack, but the first movie released on Death Row Records.
Right.
Because it was under the movie was also produced.
Right. Yeah. And to give people some feedback and some clarity, it's not a full movie.
It's not a full movie.
No.
So in a nutshell, it's I'll read a little tidbit here. It's an 18-minute. It's only 18 minutes.
Right.
I remember buying the movie.
Yeah.
VHS. And the movie, and we were so excited to watch it, and it was literally like not even a half an hour sitcom without the commercials. But album was released on October 18th, 1994. So we were in grade 9. We were just going into grade 9. On Death Row Records, 18-minute movie directed by Dr. Dre, and you know who else? You're gonna love this one. I had no idea. Fab Five Freddy. And if you don't know who Fab Five Freddy is, old school rapper. He was the host of MTV Yo Raps back in the 80s, early 90s. And yeah, I don't know. I had no idea, but Fab Five Freddy and Dre produced the movie. And it chronicles, so the story is the fictional death of Snoop Dogg. And at that, actually, it's funny because when you read the soundtrack, it's Snoop Doggy Dogg.
Yes.
See, you guys, some of you might not know that Snoop started off as Snoop Doggy Dogg, and then he went to Snoop Dogg, and then Snoop Lion, and God knows whatever he is now. But yeah, so it's the movie's him dying, and he gets resurrected after making a deal with the devil.
Yeah. And this is also the time when he was going through the murder charge.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And for those of you that may not know, a lot of things I said about Snoop Dogg, but once upon a time, Snoop was a legit, I don't know, it's like gangbanger, but he was legit surrounded by gangsters.
I mean, he's LBC, 60s rolling crip.
Yeah, and
he never denied that.
Yeah, and I think
so. You're right. He's a gangster in the sense of he might not shoot bang bang, but he was part of the gang, and he never stepped down from it.
Yes, and there was a murder charge against Snoop, and he actually won the case.
He did.
It ended up being self-defense. Unfortunately, someone did die in it.
Right.
But it was an interesting time for him because this album comes out around the same time the murder case was trying to come out, and they were trying to use this album against him.
Right.
Very similar, how they do to Young Thug right now. They're using all these lyrics as proof, and they were kind of trying to do that to Snoop Dogg, but they didn't really have any laws that were set up to prosecute somebody based off of lyrics, and they've kind of changed some of that over the years. But I think for me, I remember when this album dropped, it was weird because we found out his real name.
He did. That's right. Right, because the cover of the album is it's almost like not a prayer card, but it's a funeral.
Kind of like a funeral advice. Yeah.
And it says, in memory of Calvin Rhodes, which is right? So you're right. Now, do you recall remembering, like, do you recall when this album came out? Like, do you remember any sort of like, I remember like hearing about it or anything like that? Like, do you remember?
I remember being extremely excited because of the way that this album was marketed prior to it coming out.
Right.
I think the AMA performance had already happened. Right. It came out in the Lowrider.
Oh no, that was Soul Train.
Soul Train. Yeah. And they would tease beats.
Right. They did the Helter Skelter beat.
Yeah. And then Natural Born Killers was kind of teased, and there were a lot of these things happening that felt like there was something brewing in Death Row.
Right.
And Doggy Style was already a monster.
Doggy Style and Chronic were just back to back, right?
Matt.
I don't. It's funny because you have a better memory of it. What I do remember of it is I remember there was a kid in grade 8, and he told me about it, and I said, no, you're mistaken. Murder Was the Case is a song on the Doggy Style album. So the title of the movie and the soundtrack comes from a song title from Snoop's first album, Doggy Style. There was a song on the album called Murder Was the Case. So it stemmed from that. So I was like, what are you talking about? Because we weren't really into the source at that time, so I didn't really know.
No internet.
And there was no internet, right? And so how would you really know? Like he's like, no, it's a movie and it's a soundtrack. I'm like, no, you're crazy. And then literally a week later, we're all talking about it, and the album comes out, and we're all excited about it. But do you remember the movie at all? I really don't.
Yeah,
I didn't have time to watch it
because I know there were parts of it that were from the music video,
right?
Where the devil visits him and stuff. So some of that was included.
Correct.
But I only remember some of that because like the narrative of talking to somebody in the song wasn't happening a lot.
Right.
Like I think that was something unique they did in that song. With the devil visited him in the hospital, like start set trip, your ass is mine. Yeah, a lot of those things hadn't been done before, so that artistically really stood out to me back then.
You know what? I'm just thinking about it, but I think if I'm correct, that Murder Was the Case was the first movie released by a rap label. If we really want to think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
what was released before that by a rap label? I'm About It came in 1996.
Afterwards.
1997. Baller Block and Cash Money came in 1998. What about Streets of Watching came out in 1996. No, but rap label.
Yeah, but wasn't the same label that...
Was that Def? No, not...
No, the same label that managed Sugar Hill Gang?
Oh. Maybe you're right.
I can't say for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
But I think the same label...
Maybe you're right.
They had a weird name. I don't want to call them a hip hop label, but I guess they were because they were the only one managing hip hop.
What you're talking about?
They either did Breakin' or they did that other old school hip hop movie.
Shad, am I right in saying that Murder Was the Case was the first movie released by a rap record label?
Yeah.
Right. What about Breakin'? Was that released by a rap record label?
No, Breakin' was just a hip hop. It's the hip hop movie. It's the movie based on hip hop.
Okay. What about Wild Style?
There's one called Beat Street.
Yeah, I remember Beat Street.
Beat Street, Wild Style, and Breakin'.
But they weren't released by the actual rap label.
No, they weren't.
Okay, so more than likely, Murder Was the Case was the first movie that was released on video. Or
if you're wrong, they're gonna check you.
Yeah, so. and if I'm wrong, please
let us know
in the comments. But so that was the first movie released. Although it was 18 minutes, it's still right. It's significant.
It's a significant undertaking for sure.
And Alite, he's doing short movies. 18 minutes is a lot, right?
Long time, man.
Like some of the viewers might think, "What's 18 minutes?" But what do you in your sphere now that what you're doing?
Essentially, what you're looking at is 18 minutes. It's a minute a page,
right?
So they would have to write 18 pages of script, and not only that, you have to create the scene. So this undertaking is not just a musical thing,
right?
You have to have someone that has vision to be able to bring your lyrics to life in a way that's theatrical and create a story and a narrative. And because you got to have a beginning, you got to have the peak, you got to have an ending.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any of those things, then nobody remembers it. And I think with this one, because it's crazy because what they're doing, what they did is kind of what we're doing, but without a budget.
Right.
I think the difference now is we have the technology to make up for the difference. Right. Whereas back then, if you wanted to make a movie, you would have to buy the film. You have to buy the technology. You have to buy the lights. You have to buy all those things are significant expense.
Right.
Whereas right now, you can make a movie. I think the 28 years later, was made on that iPhone.
Right. I heard about that.
The lenses, right.
But when you see the trailer, you can't tell.
It looks amazing.
It's 4K, 2K, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Right?
So as a film connoisseur, can someone do justice with 18 minutes on a movie?
Yes. Absolutely.
Would you have said that 10 years ago?
No.
But now that the sphere you're in now,
yeah,
you've seen.
I would probably say in the past 5 years, I started to understand that you can say a lot in a really short amount of time.
Okay.
And it's all about making sure that you know what you want people to feel at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly. I think in this case, they knew if Murder Was the Case, they knew exactly what they wanted people to feel.
True.
They wanted to create like a mythological feeling around Snoop.
Right.
This invincibility around him.
A very eerie.
The devil thing.
The devil. Yeah.
So, do you have stats on records? Because I know this album did well.
I have some stats. Yes, I do. So the album, the soundtrack, I should say, released, like I said, October of '94. Debuted at #1 on the Billboard Top 200.
Not on the hip hop chart.
Not on the hip hop chart. Thank you.
Yes, on the chart.
Top 200, which in 1994 was monumental. And it sold in its opening week 329,000 copies.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. like a Drake or a Kendrick sells 300,000, 400,000, 500,000 now, and we think that's huge. 300,000 would be going like platinum almost.
And perspective. That's physical copies, $15.
Physical
$15 per CD.
Yeah.
Multiplied by $350,000 for an independent label.
Correct. Or even a tape, which was $10.
$10.
Right?
Yeah.
Vinyl was kind of on a decline in the mid 90s. So you didn't see a lot of vinyl.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Alite says, I mean, you had to go to the store and buy it.
And they were indie. That's what was an independent label. They were signed to it. I mean, technically, they were signed to a
They were under the blanket of Interscope. But they weren't established yet, right?
They were established as Death Row Records. Right. So someone made bank.
And
it wasn't Snoop Dogg.
No.
Because shortly afterwards, he did Dogfather and was broke, right?
Extremely broke.
But that's just a bit of a background of the album. Obviously, the album starts off with the title track.
Right.
Which is, personally, as a storytelling track, one of the more iconic storytelling songs. And it's called Murder Was the Case.
And
getting a little too loud.
So Murder Was the Case so the title track is the remix of the original song from the Doggy Style album, which is Snoop's first album. Exact same song, different production.
Right.
We were just listening, me and Alite were just listening to the original because we hadn't heard it in a while. What's your contrast in first and foremost the comparison between the two songs?
I personally like the beat on the Murder Was the Case album.
Good. Okay, yeah, a lot of people do.
And I feel like it is a better representation of where Snoop's sound lives.
Right.
It feels like it feels good there.
Right.
Who put that fight on that beat? I'm good thinking that it's gotta be that.
It's straight. Dr. Dre did the original.
Okay.
Dr. Dre did the original, and Dr. Dre did the remix. Yeah. And you can tell. I mean, right away, it's got that G funk, but it's a darker. Yeah, this song could have easily been on the Chronic album or on Doggy Style, the remix of it.
Yeah.
And it would have fit in just fine.
Yeah.
But you're right in the sense. I like the original version better of Murder Was the Case, which, like I said, can be found in Doggy Style.
Yeah.
But the remix is nothing to slouch at. It's a solid song. It does have more of an eerie undertone. It's got the chorus where it's kind of like a church choir vibe, but more dark.
Guys, you gotta take it over the sound, man. You gotta bring it down a little bit.
So yeah. I mean, solid track. Dr. Dre production. Nicely starts off the album with a lot of intensity.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's incredibly theatrical. I think it's Snoop at its best storytelling.
Yeah.
The way he breaks down the scenes, you can see the
theatrical.
song.
That's actually
right.
Perfect word.
You can see the song, and I think Snoop is heavily inspired by Slick Rick.
100%.
So Slick Rick is like the storytelling king.
Yeah.
And I think Snoop takes a lot of that legacy with him.
First album was called Art Storytelling.
Yeah. And Snoop paid homage to him on the Doggy Style album with Lottie Dottie.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So I think this song is this is the kind of peak Snoop for me. Snoop at his peak.
I totally agree.
This song is the 5.
I totally agree. I gave it. What did I give it? I gave it a 2.5.
Oh,
and that's just for the simple fact that I'm biased and I like the original version better.
Fair.
Now you guys out there, listen to both. Go on YouTube or wherever if you have the album. Go on, listen to the remix on the Murder Was the Case and listen to the original and tell us which version you like, because I love the production on the original, but still that's a solid 3.5. It's a solid 3.5.
So before we get any further into this, I want this is a bit of a disclaimer I have to say.
Yeah.
With where we're at with Snoop Dogg.
Right.
And for me personally as an artist, Snoop Dogg was always my top 5 dead or alive. Always one of my favorite artists of all time. I think he has some of the greatest contributions to hip hop, not just back in the 90s. 2000s he had hits, the 2010s he had hits, like he just had hits.
He really has.
And I think, it's great that he got Death Row back and artists started to get their royalties. All that stuff's really fantastic. But last year, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, Snoop was talking about how any rapper that gets down with Trump is this and that and the other. Really, really horrible, mean things he was saying about artists that were going to be down with Trump.
Yeah, he's very anti-Trump.
Yeah, always has been, and I think that's kind of like some of the Pac sentiment because Pac is very anti-Trump. And then coming into 2024, the inauguration party, Snoop Dogg is fucking DJing Trump's inauguration party.
Right.
And for me, it's like, first of all, you already got money.
Yeah. You know, Snoop has done extremely well financially in the last 15 to 20 years. He's in so many different business ventures.
Shout out Master P for that.
Shout out to the Colonel. And this is nothing that Snoop hasn't said.
100%.
Like he's gone to so many interviews and said if Master P, because Snoop had gone from death row to no limit.
Yeah.
And he was broke.
Yeah.
Like Lee said, he was broke. I mean, how can a guy who sold millions and millions of albums be broke?
Okay,
like it's crazy.
So
right?
there's a Source magazine article. I think Snoop's on the cover. He's wearing like a blue flannel.
Right.
He's got like the braids in the hair.
Right.
And he's talking about. So he's the interviewer. Right. Had to go see Snoop with the projects. So Snoop's in the projects. Snoop broke. They got the one little baby. And I remember the reporter saying Snoop was so broke that the reporter had to front him.
For diapers. I remember hearing that.
And I remember thinking like, oh my God.
I remember hearing that. And that's crazy, right?
Unreal, man.
Like Doggy Style sold 4 or 5 million albums. Even the Dogfather sold a couple million albums. Plus he was in soundtracks and
on the Chronic.
And on the Chronic, and then he featured on a lot of other rappers stuff, right? Yeah. Because he was really popular.
The hottest in the world.
The East Coast wasn't really fucking with a lot of West Coast artists, but they were fucking with Snoop because he got that respect.
Yeah.
But you're right, that's crazy that a reporter or a journalist had to buy him.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even have a credit card.
Dave Mays or someone like that.
Right.
But then, he signed No Limit. Master P does what Master P does and amplified Snoop and made him, made him stable. And then Snoop took those lessons and became what he is today.
He really did.
So we get to this point here where this motherfucker's out here DJing Trump's party. And you know what the worst thing for me? Okay, I know it's not about the money. It can't be about the money. The worst part for me is I saw a clip from it. And Snoop's got like the DJ, because Snoop DJs on the side. Yeah. DJ Snoopadelic. Right. He's got like the Snoopadelic thing, the turntables and stuff, and he's like got the headphones on, he's like doing his thing. And there's a crowd of just a bunch of maggots. Sorry, a bunch of MAGA people in the front.
Yeah, you're right.
In the front. And they range from probably like 35 to 95, and Snoop's doing a G thing.
So basically what you're saying is they couldn't name one Snoop song, right?
He was, the party, like, hey, yo, Dre.
Right.
What up, dog? In any of the crowd.
Right.
That roof comes up.
Everybody knows it.
And this one, silent. Not a word.
Of course.
So forget the money, forget the influence. They didn't even respect your art. That's the thing that drives me crazy. And now, look a little bit deeper, at least for me personally, because there might be something redeeming about this, and it may be because of Harry O.
Right, who recently got pardoned, right?
By Donald Trump.
Right. And because he got pardoned, Snoop had easier access to get that, right? I think they're in a partnership or something like that or something.
Yeah.
But it's almost like, it's funny because he's mimicking the movie. He made a deal with the devil being Donald Trump.
We'll be right back. Didn't go anywhere.
Yeah, so it's funny how that's kind of shadowed it. It's foreshadowed what he did in the movie. He's done in real life. He's made a deal with the devil being Donald Trump. Like, okay, you help my, Harry O out, so I'm going to be your Uncle Tom and do whatever you want. Great.
Yeah.
It's sad to see. Yeah. And he's not the first. Nelly's done that, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But Snoop, I think it hurts us a little bit more because, like you said, we grew up at the start of his career. We saw him from the
heart, man.
And we saw him flourish through different record labels and then his own record label. We've seen him go through different production styles from West Coast to the down south, back to West Coast. Then he did a lot of work with Pharrell, and then he had that. Remember, he had that phase. Yeah. I mean, this guy's he's been popular for a long time, and he's one of those guys where
lots of drops, y'all. How am I a guest on my own shit? There we go.
And we're back.
And we're back.
So, I mean, he's one of those rappers where he's recognized almost anywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, at that point when he did that, was that a change in your fandom for him? I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt.
Yeah.
Because he's always
Me too.
I've always held him in high regard.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So that one really hurts. And the reason that we're even bringing this up is because even with that, we want to make sure that we talk about the music in a fair way.
100%.
And
100%.
not let those things that bother us influence how we feel and talk about the music.
You're right.
Which is pretty important.
We can separate the art from the artist.
Yeah, in this situation, right? I think with this podcast overall, it's important. Because like even with the Drake episode, you know, I think everybody that I know knows how I feel about it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have different views on it.
Yeah, but when we talk about the music is what is gonna make people understand how we feel when it comes to music, not just with the biased opinion of how I feel about the artist.
And you know what? If you really think about it, every album we reviewed, there's been some controversy.
Mm-hmm.
You think about Lauryn Hill. She's done some things that I didn't know about that Alite brought in that episode, if you haven't seen, about how she treated, you know, like
some of the players
and whatnot, right? Mm-hmm. And then NWA, I mean, Dr. Dre, and there was some controversy there within the, you know, and Tyler, he said some things back in the day about like Selena Gomez. Like there's some things there, so but like Alite said, we have to go with the art, and that's what we're judging.
The music is what matters in this podcast.
Music is what matters,
and that's what we're going to be going in on.
Right.
And this next track,
there's a lot to talk about.
This is the anthem.
You want to start it off, or do you want me to start it off?
Go for it.
Okay. Track 2, titled "Natural Born." Now, when I first heard this song, I went mental. Because it was like, this is the song where you listen to if you're gonna go and bench, 600 pounds, or you're gonna go and into a kickboxing fight or an MMA, or you're gonna go and just it's just pure chaotic chaos. The beat is so crazy. It's like the end of the world. Like if the world was ending, that would be the perfect song.
And it's a Dr. Dre production.
It's a Dr. Dre production. A lot of you people, I'm sure, have heard it. If you haven't, it's just
crazy.
It's crazy. And I tell you, when I say that song, it's a feeling. It gives you that. It's like an instant rush, right?
Well, I mean, you can't talk about the song without talking about an introduction. The little skit in the beginning,
right?
With Lorenz Tate. Why you always fucking with me?
I didn't know that was Lorenz Tate.
Yeah,
I just learned that.
Yeah.
No, like literally just learned it now.
His voice. Oh,
yeah. No, I didn't know that.
Lorenz Tate's voice is so recognizable.
Yeah, now that you say it.
Yeah,
but I didn't even in my research, and that's why we both do research because we feed off each other. I didn't know that was him.
And at that time, Lorenz Tate was a big star. Menace had dropped.
Right, because that was just after. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And he was like a recognizable dude.
That's right.
It's cool to have that kind of like that little star power piece there. But the skit is dope.
Lorenz Tate.
Yeah. And then, why you fucking with me? Fuck you, because I can. And then the gunshot. Oh.
And it's the gunshot with the bullets. You can hear the bullet kind of like yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Beautiful.
And it's Dr. Dre at his finest.
And
as far as production is concerned, it's so ahead of its time. It's crazy.
You know what the thing that bothers me about the song is that it gave you what a solo Ice Cube album could have been like, produced by Dr. Dre.
I'm going to take that one further. It was actually, and this is a fact. This was supposed to be the title track for Dr. Dre and Cube's joint album called Helter Skelter.
I hate that.
That never got released. So Helter Skelter was an album that Dr. Dre and Cube were going to do together. Post NWA, it was going to be the first album, first time they worked together. So this song is the first time that Cube and Dre worked since Cube had left NWA.
Right.
A lot of people don't know that.
Right.
But even before the soundtrack came out, Dre's plan was to have this as a title track for Helter Skelter. That album, and we were excited about that album because we heard rumors about it. The title was crazy. The Helter Skelter, right? And then if and we're going back, there was a hip hop music award show called the Soul Train Awards. A lot of people, if you know Soul Train, back in the days, was like a music show, dance show, and so on their hip hop, I think it was 1993 Soul Train Awards.
Right.
Snoop and Drake come out, they perform cheating and whatnot, but they come out to this beat. It's got the Scooby Doo intro, and then it turns into this.
And really, he came on the lowrider,
straight up 600
on stage,
like straight up hydros, like bouncing. And the music, there was about a minute instrumental. And we kept on just playing it because it was like the best piece of music you've ever heard. And I think the game released a song with that music.
Did you really?
Yes, someone told me that.
Oh wow!
But anyway, so back to the song. So yeah, this song was actually not intended for this initially. The plan was to have it on their joint album, but that never flourished. And then so it came on the album. Now, another fun fact: this song is actually not an original song.
What do you mean?
Okay. So we get introduced later on into the album, through the album, to an artist called Sam Snead.
Right.
Sam Snead is a rapper that was signed to Death Row. During this, at this album, we never knew who he was prior to this. He was really never. He's a rapper from Pennsylvania and a producer. So prior to coming to Death Row, and this is what the song that he had is what gained Dre's ear on it. So Sam Snead had a song called I forget the name of the song. Sorry, I didn't put it there. But he released the song independently, and that beat was now what you hear as Natural Born Killers. So he had a song with another artist, nothing to do with Death Row, and the music is, I would say, 80% of what Natural Born Killers was. It wasn't called Natural Born Killers. It was called something else. My apologies for not writing that song.
Crazy.
Right. So Dre heard the song. He really liked the music. Yeah. You can listen to if you YouTube it. I YouTubed it yesterday, and you put Sam Snead, you put Natural Born Killers original, and you'll hear it. And it's very close, but it's not quite there. Dre took the beat and Dre-ified it, and he does that. And nobody does better.
Kind of like a reference track almost.
Yeah,
because that's that Snead song no one ever heard.
That's exactly what it is.
So I mean,
and so what you hear is a better produced version of Sam Snead's original track.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was kind of interesting listening to that because I was like, oh wow, okay. I thought this was an original song, and this is why we do this show, is because we learn all these things that we had no idea about. And one more fact is the song features Dre and Cube, but Sam Snead was supposed to be on that album. And there's actually a version on YouTube that has him on this song as the third rapper.
Oh, wow.
But Dre scrapped it at the last minute because he felt it was too much. Two rappers were better than three. And I totally agree. And if you read the comments, a lot of people say the same thing.
Yeah.
Snead's rapping was on point. It was just a rapper. It was just too much.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't fit. It wouldn't fit.
Especially when you have two icons and you have just a guy who's just starting out.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
The music video.
The music video.
For this song. It did something really cool because it was a big budget music video.
It was.
Like, it was an actual film.
It was a short film.
Yeah, you had Cube and Dre in the warehouse and the back and forth. And the amazing 3-second cameo of Tupac Shakur.
Correct.
At the end of the video is holding the sniper rifle aimed at Cube and Dre. Oh, man. Unbelievable. But before we go any further, can we just talk about Cube's lyrics a little bit?
Please.
So Cube jumps into the song on his verse. Terror illustrates my era. Now I can't hang around my mama because I scare her. I want to blast motherfuckers up. It feels like I'm busting a nut when I open you up. And Cube is not a horrorcore rapper.
He's not.
He's very political.
He's not.
Very outspoken.
Yeah.
It's about a wild shit. But this right here,
yeah, it was very similar to Wicked from the Predator album. Remember Wicked? Very chaotic and very like
great song.
Yeah, this is Cube. Just I mean, we're talking about Prime Dre. This is Prime Cube.
Yeah, he's just so much wild shit in here, like stuff that you wouldn't expect from Cube. But I feel like he's a storyteller.
He really is.
Even when he makes movies, he kind of takes you on a ride. And this verse here, I don't understand the logic in my dreams, but I like the sounds of sirens. Terrified scream from the streams of strychnine, dumping on any motherfucker trying to take one. Cube uses language in a way that only Cube can use it.
He literally changed sirens to sirens, but he didn't make it cheesy. He made it work.
It makes total sense.
You know what? The song is a very angry song,
Yeah.
and his tone is very angry. Dre's not so much, but Cube, he's just angry.
Yeah.
And you can hear it, and that just adds to the song.
Dre is very dirty with me.
Right.
Me. Don't
Right.
you kill. Very, very chill, serial killer vibe, and Cube just wants to. This is 5.
How did you like Dre's rapping on it?
Who wrote it though? Speaking of Dre wrote it, it's a great verse. Doomed to be a killer since it came out the
I
night.
don't know.
I'm in a murderous monster with a heart full of terror. I see the devil in the mirror. It sounds like Cube.
I would say it's probably Cube.
And if it's Cube, then that's just another Cube ghost
If
writing
it's not
legendary
Cube, then
verse.
it's probably DLC.
Right.
Right?
Either way, whoever wrote it, it's a great verse.
Yeah. A 5 for me.
Beautiful song.
It's an iconic song. One more fact for this song,
Mm-hmm.
and this really pissed me off. So, if some of you remember, you're our age, there was a movie by Oliver Stone called Natural Born Killer, and it was released in 1995.
Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson
Juliette
and
Lewis.
Juliette Lewis.
Yep.
And
And Rob Downey Jr.
that's right.
Yes. A newly sober Robert Downey Jr.
And a lot of people assumed that this song was on that soundtrack, and it wasn't.
I thought it was.
It wasn't.
Yeah. No, definitely was
It
not.
wasn't.
Yeah.
But it got a lot of attention because the movie is crazy,
Yeah. Unreal.
and it would have been a perfect fit,
Oh yeah.
but they didn't use it.
Yeah.
And there's going to be another story a couple tracks later that really makes me mad. But the fact that they didn't use it,
Big fail. Big fail.
huge.
And I don't think hip hop was taken seriously by those big Hollywood movies at that time.
No, but you're gonna love the story that's coming up.
Yeah,
That's
I
gonna-
think
gonna kill
Hollywood
you.
started to take hip hop more seriously when Quentin Tarantino started to use it. Because Quentin put hip hop in his movies, and I think he really made the soundscape feel different.
Right.
But yeah, I don't think Oliver Stone.
I mean, you're right.
I don't think Oliver Stone would use hip hop.
You're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Big miss.
Big miss. Huge miss. Okay. So the album, quick fact, it was certified platinum in December of '94. So it took literally 3 months to only, and it went
1 million,
1 million
physical
units.
copies.
Yeah. And as of right now, it's double platinum. So that's impressive. It was so check this out. Do you know that the soundtrack there was Tupac was supposed to be on the soundtrack? Yeah. So Tupac was paid $200,000 by Suge Knight to record a song. For Murder was the case.
Dang.
The song was called "Life's So Hard," featuring Snoop. It ended up never on the cutting floor. It never made it to the album. They subsequently used it on the gang-related soundtrack, which was also on Death Row Records, which was the movie with Snoop and Jim
With
Belushi.
Pac. Yeah.
But yeah, he was supposed to be on the soundtrack.
Damn. I don't remember if that sound's good.
I don't remember it, and I didn't have a chance to.
Homework afterward.
If you guys know, if it's good or not,
Yeah.
please comment. But Tupac was potentially going to be on the soundtrack.
That would have felt good.
That would have been great.
Yeah.
Okay, back to the soundtrack. We're gonna do track number 3. What would you do? Which is the Dog Pound featuring Snoop. So the Dogg Pound, if you don't know, it's a group that Snoop formed.
And Joel is in it too,
with
right?
his cousin
Yeah.
and a rapper from Philly who moved to LA. So his cousin is Daz.
Yeah.
Daz and Corrupt and DPG, Dogg Pound, Gangsters, Dogg Pound,
Yeah.
one of the most iconic West Coast groups.
Yes.
of all time.
Absolutely.
You have Daz, who's just a one of the not even the best West Coast producers, but one of the best hip hop producers of all
Agreed.
time.
Agreed.
His golfer, his production is just ridiculous. From Tupac to DPG to Snoop to Dre, it's
And it's unfortunate that he never
crazy.
really got to shine the way he should have, because
No,
he created the entire West Coast sound for the whole 90s.
he really did.
Like up until Chronic 2001 came out, Dre reset the whole game again.
Right.
But the whole 90s, Daz was the one creating the soundscape for what the West Coast sounded like. And man, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but dude, Daz's beats are some of my favorite beats of all time.
True.
The guy makes phenomenal music.
If you want to hear an iconic song, he's got a lot. But I'll give you one. Ambition is a Rider. Tupac. That was Daz. I mean, Alite's right. West Coast production, it was Dre, Quick, and Banks.
Yep.
And
produced the Click, E40's crew.
Yeah, that was a lot.
They had a couple of DJ producers.
There was one guy named K. Lou Franklin, who did a lot of work with No Limit, and then EA Ski.
EA Ski, right?
EA Ski. But you're right. Daz was that next generation of the West Coast sound.
Yeah, and his beats don't sound dated.
They don't.
This song is a perfect example.
It's true. This song, What Would You Do? So the backstory of the song is it's a direct diss to Eazy-E and to BG Knockout and Dresta. So Eazy-E and if you know
They got
famous beef, he had Ruthless Records, Death Row, Easy, Dre. Then it became Easy versus Snoop and Dogg Pound. And then Easy had his own version of the Dogg Pound, which was BG Knockout and Dresta, who were dope as well. Underrated. And yeah, so this is a direct song, a direct hit. So this was after Eazy-E and his crew went after Dre and Death Row on the It's On album. So this was the next diss in the feud.
Yeah.
And they basically go right after them. The lyrics for me, they're dope. They really go hard.
Never really gets mentioned as one of the big diss tracks of all time.
And well said. And you know why? The beat is not intimidating. It's very West Coast.
It's very fun. It's like a party track.
It's too nice to be a diss.
Yeah, so like when I listened back to it and it started, I'm like, oh, this beat is so
right.
Great. And then you start listening to the lyrics, like, oh my god, they're going at everybody.
You're right.
Rap is a savage.
She is a savage.
Yeah.
He is a savage. And another underrated lyricist.
So underrated.
Right?
So underrated.
West Coast, yeah, but I don't think he gets appreciated in the hip hop sphere as much as he should.
And then you know what doesn't get appreciated either is how Daz and Corrupt rap off of each other.
Yes.
Dude, for me as an MC, that would be one of my favorite things to have an MC that I can go back and forth with like that.
Right.
It's very rare to find that synergy.
Right.
These two, man, it's beautiful.
Very EPMD, right? Just back and forth.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like if you, just the way Corrupt starts the song, have you ever heard of a Slaughter? Oh my goodness. You know you're in for some shit. And then like the way Daz comes in, really easy shit, better breaking that with a twist in my wrist like OJ, you all die. But he comes off of Corrupt seamlessly. Like Corrupt's last line in his verse, he goes, Corrupt's kingpin at the click, little G with the biggest dick, and then Daz right away, you motherfucker better break that immediately afterwards. And it's so beautifully done. Like for a hip hop artist, when you hear shit like that, you understand how hard it is to get the timing of that.
Right.
It's so perfect. And then you have to write it in a way where the person that you're writing for has to know your cadence and your timing. And Corrupt is not an easy artist to time because Corrupt's timing is kind of like he's not always in the flow.
Right. He's not off beat either.
No.
He's just unpredictable.
And and what he does is he sets up bars for later on in the song through the stuff that's not like as poetic.
Right.
And for Daz to match up the way he does, Daz's musicality, top notch.
Undeniable.
Yeah.
They're very like track field passing the baton, right? It's very seamless.
So good.
Now, what would you rate Daz as a rapper? Because we know Corrupt, he's a
Sure. Daz is,
I think he's a better rapper than Dre.
for sure. Daz has great flow. He can flow on any beat.
Yeah.
But he's not a great writer. His writing is, I would say, his writing's pretty mid.
Right.
He kind of says the same shit all the time.
Yeah.
But because he knows how to ride a beat, his lyrics are never like, you never pay too much attention, and you don't have to pay too much attention.
But he's got good delivery.
That's it. That's where he wins.
And if you compare him to some of the rappers now,
Yeah.
I'm sure he would out-rap a lot.
Oh, for sure. When it comes to cadence, when it comes to the finding the pocket of the beat,
Right.
Daz does it perfectly.
Right.
And it doesn't take away from the fact that he's not like a real writer.
Right.
Because of the way he fits in the beat, right?
Right.
But Corrupt is just
Corrupt
pen is yeah.
is as a lyricist, and you being a lyricist and an artist, is he in your top 10, top 20 rappers?
He would be in my top 20 for sure.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he'd be in my top 20 for sure. The only reason why he's not higher, like the same with like a Lupe Fiasco, they just don't have enough music.
Right.
I would have
body of work is not
bigger litmus test.
Right.
If you had.
Right.
So
So before we come up with our rating, after this song came out, a couple months later, so March of '95, he passed away. But after he passed away, we had released a posthumous album called "Straight Off the Streets of Motherfucking Compton," and he had a song called "What Would You Do?"
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah.
Now the music for that was really intimidating, and they kind of sampled "The Murder Was the Case" beat from this album. They mimicked it. That's what they did, and you guys gotta listen to that. That's holy shit. But back to the track. What would you give it out of 5 CDs?
it's a 5, man.
Oh wow!
What would you do?
Wow!
You could fuck with
Really?
Yeah, it's a 5.
Okay.
The song felt so good when I heard it. Like I when we decided yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was playing in the morning and I was listening to this song. This song just it's a diss song, but it feels good. And I think
Like
Jules' cameo at the end, amazing.
Yeah.
The R&B fits beautifully. Sorry, not Jewel.
Jewel.
You know,
R.I.P.
No Taylor Swift here.
She was basically between her and Michelet, they were like the first lady of soul R&B for Death Row Records, right? I give it a 3 out of 5.
Oh, wow.
And that's just because the beat. The beat's not bad.
Yeah.
It just doesn't match the song.
Huh.
Like it just.
This was going hard on these motherfuckers today.
Sorry. And you know what? What makes it a little bit more difficult is when you hear the other version of What Would You Do and you hear Easy's response to it, and that is so tough.
Yeah.
You just go, oh,
dude. Easy songs feel dangerous.
They do.
Like I'm excited for when we do have a new Easy album because his music, phenomenal.
Okay. Track number 4. 21 Jump Street, no relation to the TV show, featuring Snoop and Trey D. Now, some of you, do you know who Trey D is?
Excited!
Okay, and that's why we're experts. So Snoop had a group called the Eastsiders. It was Trey D and I think the other.
Goldilocks.
Thank you. So Trey D is also a script, and he's on this song.
Sorry, we have a couple stoners in the back that get a little too loud. We gotta come to show.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, they don't even smoke weed.
Right?
They're just loud for the shit fucking being loud.
So the song's called 21 Jump Street.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop and Trey D. Produced by Daz. And sorry, What Would You Do? Produced by Daz.
Yeah.
So you're right. I mean,
Daz fingerprints all over it.
Yeah. So far, he's got 2 out of 4 songs. So, my take on it: very chill West Coast song. G-Funk at its finest, kind of a party song. That's all I got from it.
I think the great part about this song is the intro.
Mm-hmm.
The shit talking in the intro.
Yeah, the smack talking. Yeah,
extremely neglected part of creating themes in your songs that make it feel like more than a song.
Right.
Like the only platinum hits of W Ball, My Dick's in Your Ear, Color.
Right.
Like the whole My Dick's in Your Ear.
Yeah,
it's
W Ball. So that was kind of an ongoing. Was it from the Chronic?
It was from the Chronic.
And then it went to Doggy Style,
yeah,
right?
it's a reoccurring character. And I love that
right.
because it makes it feel like there's some interconnectivity between the music and the skin is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like, I take a collar, call Snoop Froggy Dog.
Even take that into consideration. That's very slick. That
Yeah, and I mean, Snoop sounds great on it.
Yeah.
I think this is like, for me, this is the Snoop that I fell in love with.
Yeah.
The way he rides the beats.
Yeah.
West
Coast to the core.
West Coast to the core. Voice sounds crisp.
Yeah.
Lyrics are sharp.
Yeah.
And you know what the crazy thing is? We were talking about Missionary a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Missionary, and lyrically, just the usage of his lyrics hasn't really changed much. Like, it hasn't diminished as far as the writing part of it goes. But now I don't believe Snoop at all.
Right.
Like, I don't believe in anything he says.
His integrity is compromised.
But even if the Trump thing didn't happen and we just heard the Missionary album, there's no feeling.
No.
And in this, like, I think this what makes Snoop special is I feel all of it.
Well, and I think, and like we said, he wasn't a full-fledged gangster in that sense, but we knew that persona
for sure.
But now we know Snoop as Martha Stewart, right? Or he's doing these fun things. So it's hard when they go back to the Jay-Z is the perfect example. He said he can never do a Streets is Watching.
No,
he has to do a 444 because he's gotta. You won't believe him if because he's not on the block selling drugs.
Yeah, 100%.
So you can't make that kind of music.
Yeah.
So you're right. Snoop, early 50s, pen game is still good, but you need more people. We don't believe you.
Facts. Right? And this is one of those. This is like a perfect way to have a tradie introduced.
So totally.
Great beat.
Totally. Yep.
West Coast all the way through.
Yeah.
Tradie can rap.
Tradie can definitely hold going on the song.
Yeah.
And now that I think about it, I think the East Side didn't even exist at this time because they didn't until like 96.
Much later.
So this was tradie early, but good choice.
Very good song. I'll give it a 4.
Oh wow. You are very generous today, man.
You know what? I'm telling you, man. I was going through these songs, and they just. There's many other ones that aren't so nice.
Right.
But that one felt really. The songs just feel really good.
Fair enough. I give it a 3 out of 5. Solid songs. But
There's a smacking the shit out of these.
Yep.
And just so you guys know, if you're just tuning in, our rating system is based on CDs. 5 CDs gives it a 90s OG certified fresh album. Make sure you do the subscribe thing. Right now we're only streaming live on YouTube, so make sure you hit the subscribe. Go to our Facebook page. It's high praise everywhere.
Yes.
This is Riz, the hip hop connoisseur. I'm Alite, and Riz is punching these songs in the face.
I'm Tysoning it right now. Track number 5, One More Day, solo effort by the great and late Nate Dogg. Now, can you please educate the people on who Nate Dogg is and what he brought to the hip hop? Please.
First off, RIP to great Nate Dogg. Oh my god. Where do you even start with Nate Dogg? I think what makes him probably the most special hook writer in hip hop is that he writes rhymes and then sings them. So he writes like an MC. So when you hear Nate Dogg sing, it feels like you're hearing someone. At least to me, I feel like he's an MC singing.
Right.
And there's something about his voice. There's something about Nate Dogg's voice. I think the song is produced by Daz as well.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it's produced by Daz as well.
Right. Okay, yeah.
There's something about Nate Dogg's voice that it doesn't matter what kind of music you put it on, Nate Dogg's voice is going to resonate. He's that magic sauce in a song. Not everybody has that. Some people have that magic sauce. They just kind of sprinkle they sprinkle stuff on songs and you're like, oh yeah, nobody else could do it like that. Like, it's kind of like Flavor Flav with Public Enemy. Flavor Flav didn't do much, but he sprinkled.
He did everything.
Yeah, boy. Like,
with the Cajun seasoning.
Right. And as much as I hate to say this, you brought this up last week.
Yeah.
Puff on Hushatia.
Totally.
Some people just got that sauce. I think the difference with Nate Dogg is he always had the sauce. Nate always had the sauce.
And let's not get it twisted. Nate Dogg is not Luther Vandross or something. Like,
no.
He's not a soulful singer in that regard.
Not traditional.
Okay, so you sing, and you sing well, R&B. Where do you classify Nate Dogg singing? Because he's got a... It's very unique.
If you compare him to technical singers, it's not fair. Because he's not going to give you the falsetto, he's not going to give you the deep vibratos. Nate Dogg singing is like... I can only compare it to like... It's like syrup. Right? Like... But if you're looking at a song, Nate Dogg is like the syrup on it. He's the thing that makes you just like the thing that makes you stop. And it's crazy because he has so many moments through hip hop that are so recognizable
Right.
just off of the first two words. Like all he has to do is hold up. Everybody knows where it's from.
Yeah.
Right?
You're not wrong.
There's just magic moments that he has in hip hop that no other artist has. And it's so sad that he never got to really fulfill a full solo. I know he has a solo album,
Yeah.
but it's not like a fully realized and produced because he was kind of a throwaway at Death Row. As crazy as it sounds.
He wasn't utilized the way he should have.
And he didn't want to sign with Death Row.
No, that's right.
Because he knew Warren G's problems.
He was all about his money. Like, he wanted his money. I remember watching a documentary, and he was all about his money up front, even from like his friends.
Yeah.
He wouldn't do anything for Snoop or DPG unless you gave him his money.
Cash up front.
But you know, a lot of people will fight you and say, "Oh, when I listen to Nate Dogg, it doesn't even sound like he's singing. It sounds like he's talking." So, what do you say to that? Or do you classify him as an R&B singer or a soul singer?
He's a soul singer for sure.
He's a soul singer.
Yeah, I would say if people think that he's not singing, do it. Do it.
Boy.
Yeah, do it when he goes, "Ayo, ayo, ayo, you don't want to fuck with me."
I caught it.
Still claiming DPG. You can't do it.
You can't do it.
It's only Nate Dogg.
It's true.
There's something ODB-ish about it as well. Because
There is. Yeah.
right? Because he's in his own lane. ODB doesn't sing, but does he sing?
Right. Shimmy, shimmy, yeah.
Yeah.
He does.
Baby, baby, come on. Like, that's singing. But is he singing?
And Nate Dogg birthed, you know, artists like Moby Dick,
Right.
No Limit,
Right?
Devin the Dude,
Yeah, that dude LV. Yeah.
Oh, you're really okay. I'm gonna have to leave. You're gonna have to do this solo. You didn't just say LV. And we're not talking about the designer for you designer whores out there. We're not talking about the design. We're talking about LV, Gangsta's Paradise. He's in the video. You'll see him. He's got the load. And yeah, shout out to LV. Yeah.
You're sweating me. And after the Pastor Troy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pastor Troy.
What a baller.
Right.
From Nick Dunn's class.
Right. Little Troy.
Little Troy.
Yeah. No, but you're yeah. Right.
They all come from his class.
Right.
And the thing with Nate is he supersedes generations, right? So he was popping in the 90s. Not only was he popping in the 90s, he was popping in the 2000s.
Ludacris, Area Codes, early 2000s. Fabulous, right.
You know, it's a Quick David remix with Most Def and Pharaoh Monch. So Nate Dogg has been different places.
Yeah.
And this song is one of those songs for me that I don't know what it is about the song. I think it's maybe the what it means. The melody will just pop into my head randomly and it'll just get stuck in my head.
Do you remember the song when you first listened to the soundtrack back in the days?
I remember we would listen for a few seconds and skip.
See, that's exactly what I did.
Yeah.
So when I heard the soundtrack again for the first time, this song was like, oh, I don't remember this. And then I listened to it, and the beat is dope, in my opinion.
Yeah,
it's great. That's another Dash production. I think the beat is dope. And this is, if I'm correct, this is the first solo Nate Dogg track that we hear.
Yes.
Since hearing him on the Chronic.
Only features.
Right? Because he only did features.
Yeah.
So this is the first time that he actually did a solo. Like he did Regulate with Warren G. He did Above the which was Above the Rim. He did work on Chronic and Doggy Style, but it was never solo. Like Lead said as well. But this is the first time we hear just Nate, and he knocks it out the park.
Amazing.
What do you give it?
Amazing.
What do you rate it?
I gotta give it a 5. And the reason I give it a 5 is because the hook feels amazing. And like the way he starts the song off, right? Like I'm reading the lyrics right now.
Okay, please.
And I didn't know that this is what he was saying because of the way he uses the word. Was about when I called my first case. But this right here, my mother, she turned her back and bowed her head in disgrace. I didn't understand what that was at that time.
Right.
Because we didn't really pay attention to the depth of that.
No.
But now
we couldn't process that at that age.
Yeah, when you look at it now, you're like, this guy was telling a phenomenal story.
It was deep.
Singing. So this is very Marvin Gaye, inner city blues, detailing shit that's happening in the hood, but singing it. And not a lot of artists can get away with it.
Right.
But the hook is kind of uplifting.
It is.
One more day. And Nate's voice is so good.
And it's very reminiscent of Lil Ghetto Boy, where he did that on Lil Ghetto Boy, right? Right? Where he was kind of preaching and talking about Yeah, the struggle. I give it a 5.
Yep.
It was a solid effort.
Mm-hmm.
Our first real introduction to a solo Nate Dogg.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. The music world got robbed of his early demise. But
I'm sure it'll come up many other times as we navigate.
Definitely.
But that was a monster.
Track number 6, titled "Harvest for the World." I don't know if you're like this, but for me, sometimes when I hear the title of a song, that can really make or break my perception of what's going to be.
It may not even play it.
No hip hop or R&B song should ever have the word harvest in it. even if you're doing a commercial for a farm or Thanksgiving, I mean, harvest should never be in the hip hop R&B.
Just don't do it.
Universe. It really shouldn't.
I don't know why the song was made. Honestly, I feel like Dre maybe.
Oh, I know why it was made. Holly Filla. Holly motherfucking Filla. That's all this was for. Or someone thought Jewel was so fine that was like, all right.
I think that may have been a part of it.
Right?
Yeah.
So Jewel, a lead singer, a female lead R&B soul singer on Death Row Records.
Amazing voice.
Solo album, a great voice.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, she could sing her ass off.
Mm-hmm.
The song's horrible, in my opinion. The production, and this is going to shock some of you, Dr. Dre produced it, but he's never been good with R&B. And it's funny because he comes from an R&B background. Mm-hmm. Before NWA, Worldwide Wrecking Crew was doing like dance, hip-hop, not dancey.
Disco.
Yeah. So but that was different. This is like really like, I'm down on my luck. I want my guy back. I want my girl back. That kind of real, but it just doesn't come up. The music never goes anywhere because it starts off slow, and I'm like, okay, where is it gonna go? And it stays the fucking same. I hated every second of it. I hated every second of it. What saved it is like it was Guantanamo Bay torture. Like I think this is the song that they play when they're torturing inmates there, but. What saved it is her singing for me.
Her voice is great.
I give it a 2 out of 5. And that's being very Mother Teresa.
We've never given a 0. This is not going to be the one. I give it a 1.
And you're not. I think I should have given it a 1, but it's too late.
That song did not feel good.
Okay. Track number 7. So we're kind of half. But the song, so the soundtrack has a total of 15 tracks. And it's got a running time of an hour and 13 minutes. So your average kind of soundtrack time. Back then, yep. Number 7, song title, Who Got Some Gangsta Shit? Snoop featuring the Dogg Pound, Little Style, and Young Swoop. Fun fact, and I just remembered this by memory after I heard the song. I was like, where have I heard this song before? Not from the album, but I heard it somewhere else. Mm-hmm. I'm like, trying to remember it, and then it finally clicked. One of my favorite hip hop movies. It's also a documentary called The Show.
Oh,
you remember The Show?
Hell yeah.
Great movie. You haven't seen it. Russell Simmons produced it. Def Jam. The soundtrack was great. It's basically a documentary about hip hop from West Coast, East Coast, down south. It has a bunch of interviews. It's all black and white. And then they also, not all black and white, but some portions of the concert footage is black and white. Anyways, so there's, I don't know if you remember, there's a scene where Snoop and his crew are in the bus, the tour bus, and they're rapping to a backpack.
Very vague.
So this is the song that they're rapping to. Yeah. So it's a little fun. Weird.
Wow.
But anyways, Who Got Some Gangsta Shit? Your thoughts?
It starts off using Ice-T's rhyme pattern from
correct.
6 in the morning.
That's right.
I think it's tough to use that
too, I believe.
Yeah.
Remember Psych 8? Yeah.
And then Master P used it as well.
Used it, right?
It's tough to use this and make it sound unique because Ice-T's flow is just so deadly.
Yeah.
In that track,
especially the early Ice-T, right?
Yeah. I think once I get past that, Snoop Dogg's verse is really good. Corrupt's verse is probably the best verse on the track. I don't know why. I don't really need the song.
Really?
I mean, it's not bad. I just don't really need it.
How did you like the production on it?
Production's amazing. I know this is not jazz though.
You're right. It's Superfly. who's actually another famous West Coast producer.
Yeah.
Did a lot of work.
Okay.
I love the production. The production was solid. Classic DPG song.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Kind
Kind of what they do best.
I give it a 3.5.
I am exactly there with you. 3.5. Okay. Yeah.
Track number 8. And here we go back to the fillers. So the song is called "Come When I Call," featuring it's a solo project, a solo song featuring Danny Boy. But some of you don't know who Danny Boy is. He was basically the first R&B singer. Because Nate was a little different. Because Nate was like not just R&B, right? Nate was a rapper too.
Well, Nate was
could rap.
Nate was never a feature.
No,
right? Nate was always like a main attraction of the song.
Right.
Danny Boy is a feature.
See, like Nate wasn't just like a one track kind of thing.
Nah.
He could rap all and sing together, and he could do hooks. So he was kind of a universal type of. Yeah. You can't compare him to anybody, really, right? So Danny Boy is kind of your first introduction to male R&B for Death Row.
Yeah.
He was smooth. I mean, the ladies liked him. He had the whole Jodeci look with the double-breasted blazers and the Ray-Ban, all that. And it's funny because he just came out in the last 10 years as
he was like a cook or something somewhere.
Gay, yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. So it's funny because he was such a womanizer,
right?
Or so called, but he really wasn't.
Yeah.
But you couldn't see. That's another thing. You couldn't be a gay artist on a label like Death Row back in the 90s.
Or in hip hop.
No,
hip hop artists.
Hip hop in general.
They had to keep that to themselves.
What do you? I mean, what's your thought on that? Like, is that something that it would alter your listening views if you knew that an artist was a lesbian or a gay individual?
Then it would have. Because
we were different mindsets.
Culture, homophobia was all throughout culture.
Right.
And it wasn't called homophobia. It was just normal.
Right.
It was just how you talked about people.
It's true.
So at that time, if the artist, if a Snoop came out as gay or something, you'd be like,
right.
Oh man, I
can't do it.
And it's so silly because it's only 30 years later.
Yeah.
And we're so much further developed as far as our emotional capacity and our intellectual capacity.
Right.
What we're able to see, feel, and understand about people in general, that this is not even a question. Like if an artist is gay, they get end.
But you made a good point. You were talking about Snoop and how you don't believe him now.
Yeah.
Right? Because of the landscape has changed.
Yeah, for sure.
But I would almost have to say the same thing, and I'm not being homophobic, but if there's a gangster rapper and he's talking about gangster topics, and then all of a sudden, 2 albums later, he comes out as a gay individual, and he's still talking about gangster stuff, it's less believable, no?
Okay.
It's now, for me, that would be less believable.
So how would it feel if... You're probably not going to like this one. So Marvin Gaye was gay.
Yes.
Right? There was rumors that Marvin Gaye had a relationship with Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
Marlon Brando was kind of like fluid.
I think there was something about Richard Pryor too. Right?
Yeah. So now that's when I was going to. So Richard Pryor.
Right.
Iconic. One of the most prolific stand-up comics of all time. Absolute genius. Made great movies as well.
Amazing.
If you knew now that he was gay and you watch a stand-up, does that affect the stand-up?
No, but he's not a gangster.
So
I'm talking specifically about gangster rap.
That the gangster part of it feels less than if the person came out as gay. So if 50 Cent came out as gay, you wouldn't be.
It's nothing to do about hating the artist after the fact, disliking them. It changed my perception of what, everything that they released beforehand was a facade. in my opinion, and not to say that you can't be gay and be a gangster, because you can. I'm sure you can. But you know what I mean. It waters the Kool-Aid. No pun intended. It waters down the Kool-Aid. It's like the sucralose version of Kool-Aid.
Okay, it is interesting how you say that, because there was a time I would have felt the same way.
Right.
When it changed for me.
Am I homophobic? Is that what's happening right now?
It's not homophobic.
Don't hit on it. It's me.
No. So here's where it changed for me.
Yeah.
Was MMA. And so shout out to Clinch MMA and Sal from Clinch.
Shout out.
And there was a fighter who was, he wasn't a fighter, but he trained at Clinch.
Okay.
And he was openly gay. and fucking kicked my ass
Right.
multiple times. I mean, he was very, very good,
Right.
but multiple times. And I was like, okay. There's nothing not masculine
I see what you're saying
about a homosexual man. That's essentially what I'm saying, right?
Yep.
And I get where you're coming from about the gangster thing, because once upon a time I would have felt the same way until I had that experience. I'm like, oh fuck. Maybe I'm not as manly as I thought I was.
I mean, maybe I mean, I don't know. I guess we just grew up in a different time, and some things still stick to me.
Well, I mean,
like it's like watching Goodfellas, knowing that if Joe Pesci was a gay person in real life, a gay individual, it would change the movie for me, because he was such a badass in the movie, and now I'm like, that's not believable, right? Like,
so there's the sprinkle of homophobia there for sure.
There it has to be.
And,
right?
and it's interesting how you said, because I heard someone talking about this in a really interesting way, and they said,
no, but you know what? Sorry to interrupt. I don't think it's. And I could be wrong, but I'm trying to save myself from drowning. But I don't think it's fully homophobic. I think it just doesn't fit my perception.
That's why I said the sprinkle of it. A sprinkle of it.
Okay, fair.
Not fully all in.
So you're putting a little Mrs. Dash.
Yeah, just a little bit.
A little bit. I can't believe it's not funny. Yeah, okay. I see what you're doing. Fair enough.
And it's interesting because I heard someone talking about this, and they were saying that this new generation expects way too much from the previous generation, as far as being able to adapt and change and adjust their belief systems to this new way of thinking, because those beliefs and that the way we use language and the way we use the vernacular at the time, we've used that for 30 plus years. Right?
Yeah.
And now this new generation is saying, well, everything that you've been saying for the past 30 years is wrong.
Right.
You now have to adopt all of this new language to accommodate how the world is changing. And if you don't, you're a piece of shit for it. And this is, and I think this is a really good learning tool, not just for the new generation, but for our generation when we hear that, because it really is a big learning curve.
No, you're right.
We've had to adjust to a whole new adoption of thoughts, feelings, and approach to the world. And if we're not willing to adapt and stay trapped in the way we used to think, then this new generation has the right to say, well, you're a piece of shit, because the generation prior to us were saying horribly foul things.
But isn't there a transition period in every generation to generation?
I think so, especially like even with my parents, like, you know, being an Indo-Fijian person, there's a whole lot of colorism that they adopt.
Of course.
And, you know, they would have certain beliefs about indigenous peoples and the Black community just based off of their colonial teachings.
Right.
Like they were taught by the British, who are the most racist in the world. And they taught them this colonial education system where these beliefs were built into them. And it wasn't even until like the 90s when we would bring friends over that were indigenous or Black, and my parents would have to accept these kids. And they would now have to accept these kids that were not traditionally brown, Chinese, white, but they were used to seeing. So we kind of had to push their comfort level.
True.
And I think that's what this generation is doing to us. The difference is the way this generation is doing it is different because social media is a part of it. And because social media is a part of it, they can throw eggs at you all day, every day. All you do is hear it and see it if you're a part of the social media world and you connect online and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think if they were more forgiving in us adapting to these changes, then there wouldn't be this constant, oh, you guys are pieces of shit, we're the ones doing everything right kind of thing. And it would make it easier for people from the 80s and 90s to transition into these new ways of seeing things and looking at things, right?
Do you think it would be the same when our Caucasian friends would bring us home to their Caucasian parents and be like, hey, this is my Indian friend, my Fijian friend, my Punjabi friend, my Vietnam friend, Vietnamese friend, or whatever. And they're like, oh.
Well, they gotta learn these names. Sukhwinder and Kovinder and Arif and they gotta learn all these new names.
Rahim.
That don't exist in their world. Like the English language, you don't roll the R.
It's true.
And in ethnic groups, almost every name rolls R's. So they gotta like make accommodations that way. So I think it's all, if you're willing to be a part of the learning curve, then we can create a society where people can adapt. But if you're not willing, then you stay trapped in a place where you never grow. It's just like old people that don't want to use the internet. Learn how to use it. Oh no, I don't want computers and stuff. Well, you're gonna
you have to adapt.
You're gonna get stuck, right? And this is, I think, part of the adaptation. And I think it's been at least from what I see, better than I expected. I think the acceptance of, LGBTQ plus into communities where they weren't accepted before, obviously it's because of the activists doing the work.
Right.
But, overall, I think hip hop and just culture overall has done a pretty good job in making the attempt to make things safe. To make things accommodating for everybody, to give people the opportunity to express themselves wholly and fully. Obviously not everywhere
totally
in the world.
agree.
I'm saying in this first world that we live in.
Hip hop has evolved and matured in that way.
Massive.
They've accepted artists like Tyler the Creator. Tyler the Creator could not exist in the 90s.
No, hell no.
Right?
Hell no. Wouldn't have been able to release an album.
Right. A guy like Daylight, he couldn't exist in the 90s.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. I think I don't know. It's gonna. I have to be a little bit. I gotta hang around you more. But maybe get a little bit more. Like for me, it's just the perception. It has nothing to do with the gender.
Yeah.
It's just like when I see a movie like Scarface, it's like, oh, that's really, and then you go, oh, well, by the way, Al Pacino's gay. It's like, oh, movie's a little different to me now.
And it's funny because
or whatever. Like The Godfather.
Him being a 5'4", kind of weak man is not going to do it.
No, you're right. Right. That's just like your MMA thing, right?
100%.
Yeah.
And it's these kind of conversations where we learn that, oh shit.
Yeah.
I am thinking about these things possibly in a way that can change, right?
Right. Okay.
That got hella political.
That did. That's good. Sometimes we need that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Back to the soundtrack. Okay, so so Come When I Call Danny Boy, we got caught up there. The song is produced by DJ Quick.
Oh,
so the beat has a DJ Quick, one of the best good producers of all time and artists. His affiliation with Death Row goes back quite a bit because Suge Knight was DJ Quick's manager. This is prior to Suge.
Momentarily.
Yeah. And Quick was very close to Eazy too, so he never got involved in the disses towards Eazy because he was like he basically said Eazy was his inspiration.
Yeah, 100%.
Even the way he rapped.
And Quick's one of the greatest West Coast producers of all time.
Underrated.
Yeah, sonically, he's considered one of the best.
He is.
And he's been used by artists from all coasts to mix albums because he's got the ear, he's got the drums.
True.
He does things better than a lot.
And he said that like Dre, there's a lot of credit that he didn't get from Dre. And he's not really bitter about it, but he said, I mean, in a sense that he wished he had gotten more.
And he completely acknowledges Dre's genius.
Oh, no question about it.
He's not saying I did more than Dre. No. What he's saying is he contributed in ways that were important to these songs becoming what they were.
It's kind of like a DLC.
I'm a huge Quick fan. I think it's amazing.
Rapper and producer.
Even his newest music, I don't know if you guys have heard Rosecrans. He dropped the album a few years ago.
It's good.
Amazing album. Yeah. Great features. MC8's on it a couple times.
Nice.
The production is top notch. His writing is always good. Quick is super underrated.
And Quick did a song on the Black album.
Oh, remember? Yeah, that's right.
And so when an artist like Jay-Z from the East Coast on a very monumental album, it was actually his last album at that time.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be his retirement album.
Yeah.
To go out and say, and he has access to the greatest producers that ever lived. Not to say Quick isn't one of them, but Quick was very West Coast.
Yeah.
And he reached out to him and reached out to a song. Yeah. But so anyways, I gave like I said, it's a typical 90s R&B vibe. That's what he's trying to go for. Vocals are not bad, but the song just doesn't do anything for me. I think it's like a watered out version of a Jodeci or something of that sort. I give it a 2.5.
You know what that is? That's an airball. The song.
I thought you wanted it.
The song of the airball.
Wow. First time. Like I wish we had a button for these things. It's the first time we've gotten an airball.
We'll find a way.
We'll find a way.
So yeah, this is an airball for me. Misses completely very similar to that Jewel track. I give it a 1.
Give it a 1. Mm-hmm. Now who's the bad guy? Track number 9. Now we're going back up.
Yeah.
Trajectory. Song titled "You Better Recognize." And this is from an artist called Sam Snead. We spoke about him earlier. Artist from Pennsylvania, so you could say East Coast. Did a couple of tracks prior to kind of being on the forefront at Death Row. Not really, I would say underground. Nobody really kind of heard of him, but because he had released that Natural Born Killer song, Dre really liked it, so he brought him on because he, not just as an artist, but he could produce. So he's double whammy. Right? And Dre likes people who can produce.
Yeah.
He's got a whole team. So this is Sam Snead's kind of first introduction to the mainstream audience. It's featuring Dr. Dre on the hook. It's one of my favorite songs on the album, and I still remember the song from when the album first came up because it was one of my favorite songs and favorite produced songs. Dope beat. Sam Snead and Dr. Dre co-produced the song. Solid flow from Sam Snead. He can rap.
Good writing.
Dre's good on the hook.
Yep.
I give it a solid 3.5 out of 5.
This is one of the more fun songs for me. I think Sam Snead is super exciting. I think he's a one and done though, right?
So you're not wrong. So he was supposed to release an album because the song had a lot of success.
Yeah.
So he was supposed to
number
release
18 on the Billboard dance charts.
Yeah, I know. I don't
dance song.
I don't even know what that is. But that's how Billboard used to segregate R&B and hip hop. They would just throw them wherever they could and wherever it stuck. It's why give them their own category? That would be crazy. Same with the Grammys. Fuck you, Grammys. But he actually had a release album. It was titled. It was supposed to come on Death Row. It never did. Eventually, before Death Row folded, in 1999, they released it.
Oh, okay.
Because he was just trying to get.
Never heard it.
No.
This was one of my favorite songs on the album too. I would have given it a higher score if they didn't put a third verse on it. It's way too much. It would have been like a 4.5 for me, but it's a 4 because it's too long.
Too long.
Okay. And it's not in a variation for it to be this long. Like the third verse gasses out. The lyrics are the back of the make with the bottle of Hennessy, it's a fiber blind who's ever in the vicinity. It's just mid for me. It could have did without. Would have almost got a 5, but it's a 4 for me.
Where do you rate Sam as a lyricist and a rapper? Is he better than a dad?
Nah. This is way too small of a sample size.
Okay.
If it's just based off of that song, I would say he could have been on like a quick trajectory because they got similar styles.
Yeah.
The way they rap. It just depends what he would have did on different beats.
Okay.
But the beat is amazing.
The beat is amazing. The beat is solid. And Dre and him kind of go back and forth a little bit in the song. It's pretty good.
And Dre's the once again it's the man with the master plan. Call him Sam, and I think you better recognize. Yeah. So good. So good.
Track number 10. One of my favorite tracks on the album, and I remember this vividly, even back then, because it was just such a dope song. But now that I listen to it, very dirty song. So dirty. Not in a bad way, in a very romantic way, but a little like explicit romantic way. So kids under 18 don't listen to the song. You probably will anyways, yeah. Featuring Jodeci. Can you, being R&B, I mean, we both love Jodeci, but can you preach about Jodeci for us, please?
Jodeci paved the way for pretty much every single male R&B vocalist to come after the 90s.
Facts.
And this is everybody, and not just musically, and I'm talking about style as well. You can give the style credit to Devontae Swain, because they say Devontae did all that stuff.
He did the production.
He did the imaging, the production.
Yeah.
The vocals for Casey and JoJo, they're obviously two of the greatest male R&B vocalists. Not just R&B, two of the greatest male vocalists of all time. I think they balance each other flawlessly. Casey's really deep, husky. JoJo can do the beautiful falsetto. Their balance is amazing. Even in the Casey JoJo album that they put out, just them two. Great album as well. So many hit songs. But Jodeci as a group foundationally changed R&B because of the way they look and what they sang about. Because the R&B was really romantic.
We're talking about New Edition, Johnny Gill, Ralph Tresvant, Bobby Brown. R. Kelly, right? It was very,
this is the begging,
very romantic.
This is the begging R&B.
And then Jodeci comes out with the Timberlands, with the baggy jeans,
and the leathers,
the hoodies, the leather.
So fly.
2 fun facts about the group that you should know, so I'm going to test you. The name of the group. Is there any significance to that?
Yes. So the name is a part of the artists. So you got the Joe for JoJo,
nice.
You got the DE for Devontae, and C for KC. Probably Mr. Dalvin.
So Mr. Dalvin wasn't supposed to be in the group initially. What's the second fact about the group as a group?
as a group,
Family tie.
Casey and JoJo are brothers.
Right.
And I think there's another tie with Dalvin.
They're brothers. Dalvin and Devontae are brothers.
Oh, so you got two brothers.
Brothers. Yeah.
And and for anybody that wants to hear harmonies, Casey and JoJo's harmony game is second to none. I don't think there's another group that harmonizes as well with two completely different vocal styles, the way Casey and JoJo do. And this song, I don't know why Jodeci wasn't on Death Row.
You're right, and I have my inklings about that, and I think it's a simple fact that they were very close to Bad Boy too,
right?
Because they were founded by Puff,
right?
And they were on Uptown, and Puff was right underneath Andre Harrell, at Uptown before Harrell fired him and said, "You're too much. You got to do your own thing." So he had a big impact on.
And this is also when Missy was writing Jodeci's lyrics.
Can I take that one step further?
Yes.
Devontae is the reason that Timbaland and Missy came into the game. He introduced them to the production. So without Devontae, we would not have Timbaland,
Missy,
we would not have Missy, and we wouldn't
Genuine,
and we didn't have Aaliyah's next sound.
Yes,
because they really broke her sound.
They made Aaliyah. R. Kelly gave you a piece of what Aaliyah could be.
Intro to Aaliyah.
And then Timbaland and Missy saw that and we're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the first album musically for Aaliyah was good, but it was very milk and cookies.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The second album, One in a Million, was, whoa.
Changed
the game.
Probably for the next 10 years, all they did was create facts. Copycats of Aaliyah.
Facts.
Right?
Facts.
But, oh yeah.
But you're right. Jodeci would have fit in perfectly at Death Row, but I think, and this is, I'm just going off what I know, is I think they also were loyal to Puff, and there was a lot of East Coast West Coast tension, so they were like, well, if we do go to Death Row, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah,
because Jodeci did more work with Death Row. Casey and JoJo did tossed it up later on. Yeah. So there was definitely there. Would I be speaking off turn if I say that they're probably the greatest R&B boy band or male band of all time? I in my opinion, they are. And I came on Jodeci late. I remember in grade 8 when they had Forever My Lady and all that. I wasn't really into that. I didn't appreciate Jodeci until grade 12 when they released the show, the After Party, Freaking You. And then I went back into the catalog and was like, oh my God, Feenan, come and talk to me. Like, that's when I really was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so you got Boys to Men. Boys to Men. We got to look at New Edition.
Shy.
You got Shy. It's a little bit limited on albums. Jagged Edge.
Jackson 5.
Jackson
if you really
5.
want to take it. But okay, let's say 90s.
Yeah.
Late 80s, early.
Yeah, so you got Drew Hill.
I think Jodeci is
I think Jodeci's the best.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yes. Okay, so back to the song. A very sexy vibe.
So good.
Just the like I said, Dog Pound. So it's featuring the Dog Pound. Sorry, I didn't mention that. Dope collaboration between R&B and hip hop. This is how you do it. You want to be different on how to do R&B and rap well, and not just on the hook, but like as a mesh.
Yeah.
This is how you do it. I mean, both parties are on point. It's a sexy song. It's a little bit naughty. It's got the beat is fantastic. It's produced by Daz and Devontae. So I mean, magic. That's the
magic.
I give it a 5 out of 5.
Solid 5. I think I want to speak a little bit to Corrupt's evolution in his writing.
Right. Evolution from where?
Which is gonna sound weird.
From like Chronic?
Yeah, from the Chronic. From Doggy Style.
Oh, okay.
From Ain't No Fun.
Okay, yeah.
Where it comes like, if I ever gave a fuck about a bitch, I'll never be broken up. Going in.
Right.
And on this one, look at you, I cry for you. I die for you. I lied to you. Again, these all that tried to do. So it marks an evolution in how he approaches songs like this. Because he's not as blatantly punching you with the nastiness in the face.
Right.
He's weaving it a little bit more in storytelling. I think Snoop's a big influence when it comes to the storytelling. But I think Corrupt really grows, which sounds crazy when you hear the song. But I think he really did step up the style of writing on this.
But do you think he toned down the aggressiveness because Jodeci was there?
Yes. But being able to do it is the magic.
Yeah.
Right? Like the fact that he could adjust his pen
to
accommodate the R&B group.
Right.
And
It comes out great.
Casey in this?
Yeah.
It's so simple. He's like, when he's like, I recognize you. He was in the hotel lobby. Like it's little, just
So
little,
slick.
so little things like that make me hear this song. And
It's
and
so slick.
the way JoJo uses this falsetto in this, it's
true.
True masterpiece of a song. Regularly resurfaces on my playlist.
Yeah.
Absolute
Agreed.
5 out of 5.
And I like the way Corrupt introduces the members. This is my homie Dalvin, and this is and then I mean that is very
fun.
yeah.
Case.
I mean the not the cockiness, but that's the
Oh,
fact
dude,
that
I think Devontae rapped that part.
oh really?
Yeah.
That's the fun. It sounded like
Yeah. Maybe Corrupt wrote it. No, that can't be. It's got to be Corrupt.
it sounded like Corrupt to me.
Maybe Genius messed it up because no, that's Corrupt.
It is, right? I mean, I could be wrong, but it sounded like
Yeah.
Corrupt.
JoJo with the peace man.
Right.
Oh,
You did that pretty good. That's a pretty good
Dude,
JoJo impersonation.
he's so good. He's one of
I'm
my
working on that. So solid 5 out of 5. Is that what you said?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. Track number 11. Here we go again. So this is, as you can see, the graphic equalizer. Song is titled "Woman to Woman," featuring Joel again. Okay, so another horrible, torturous song. I did, however, get a Patti LaBelle vibe,
Only because she could sing like that.
right?
Only because she could sing like that.
But the problem is, she's not Patti LaBelle. And this ain't Motown. And the song's fucking trash. It was produced by Quick, and Quick usually nails it on the park, but Dre missed it on that R&B. I don't know. It was just
Two missing break on this.
I give it
Woman to woman and the
yeah,
dynamic.
it's horrible. It's fucking horrible. And I'm not being sexist. It's trash. I mean, you can please, ladies out there, listen to the song and tell me that I'm lying. I'm lying. I'm dying. I give it a 1. Thank you. That's airball. Did you do your airball?
This is not a full airball. This is not a full airball. This is a 1.
Not a full airball.
But Joel, honestly, the only reason he even gets a 1.
You should do a middle
Joel's
finger
voice.
then instead.
This may be like if you
right. Right. It's like fanning on a puck. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
A 2-on-1 and you fan on.
Big time.
Empty net. And
One
you fan on
one timer, and you and you're like for it. It's not
totally. Okay. Now we're back on again. Track number 12. Titled "Dollars and Cents," featuring one of our favorites, like we mentioned, DJ Quick.
Mm-hmm.
You usually never get a soundtrack that has one diss song, let alone count them 2 diss songs. And not just a casual diss song. I mean, a diss song. Like, very flagrant. So you want to educate everybody about the Quick and kind of the little beef that they had, or what?
Yeah, so I mean, they didn't really have. I mean,
Or whatever it was.
it was kind of an exchange that they had. DJ Quick and MC8 had a little bit of beef in the early '90s.
Both from Compton,
both from the same areas. It's funny because they're kind of like polar opposites of each other as far as their rhyme styles and who they are, what they represent. But they come from essentially the exact same place. And this era of Death Row felt very hostile.
Extremely.
Yeah. It felt like they were going at everybody.
Very well put.
Nobody was safe.
No.
And they were taking shots at everybody. Quick was not part of Death Row. But this song, I think, because Suge just...
His affiliation with Suge.
Yeah.
And side note, Suge Knight was a Blood, Pyru, and so was DJ Quick.
Mm.
I don't know if 8 was a Crip or something. I'm not sure his band. He was part of a group called Compton's Most Wanted, BMW. That's where he started. So he started off in a group.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. Hostile. Another fact is iconic 1995 Source Awards. We had the whole Death Row team performing a melody of songs, and they had a jail cell background. And when Quick came out, although, like Lee said, he wasn't part of Death Row, he came out and MC8 was in the first couple rows, and he was literally rapping this song to it. How would you feel as A, the rapper rapping, and B, the rapper receiving?
I would go into the studio and make something that would make Quick want to kill himself.
Could you do that? if you had a beef, yeah,
For
you
sure,
could do
for
that.
sure. I definitely could. I mean, I started with the battle rap,
Right.
and the battle rap is going at the guy's face.
Right. Fair enough.
Would DJ Quick come up with the full perm?
That's right. He did have
The
the
full
full
perm.
big worm.
And the way Quick, and I think Quick's got a really interesting voice.
He does, and he said he mimics Eazy-E. He's got a very he's got that he
Very,
mimics his
very
voice
nasally, high
very
pitch,
nasally, yeah.
and you could feel it. You could feel
Totally.
it off of him.
Totally.
And this, like for me, as a writer, like a rap writer, Quick's writing is not necessarily aggressive.
No, definitely not.
He writes party tracks. He writes stuff about the hood.
100%.
But this song is fucking aggressive. Holy shit! What one of the better diss songs of all time. I think the only reason it doesn't get the same kind of play as far as the level of diss is because who he's dissing. MC8 never really had monumental success. And
no,
MC8,
not like that.
And MC8 didn't have a retaliation track to Quick that anyone remembers.
True.
I know he has a diss song to Quick,
but I don't even know. I can't even remember.
I don't remember any of it.
You're right. MC8 never got to that level. I mean, he's respected. We respect him. We know him, but in the mainstream world, not so much.
Yeah.
But I think it's not as intimidating is because the beat is not intimidating. Once again, when you do a diss song, for me, the beat has to have something to it. Like not like us. Just an example. Not super intimidating, but there's something there.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Back to back Drake.
Yeah.
It is right. Hit 'em up. Mm-hmm. No, that like all the great songs usually have some type of a beat,
and this is almost comical. It's got the boys. It's got a couple boys.
Party song. You said it correctly.
Yeah.
I would play this at the party.
Yes.
Like it's a total house party. So a house party song, right?
Yes.
So saying that, what do you give it?
Oh man, the writing on this for me is so special. There's so many lines that are iconic. I mean, one of the greatest lines I've ever heard from a diss track. Yeah, HT. Now shall I continue? Yeah, you left out the G because the G ain't in you.
And just so you understand that, MC8, he spelled his last name EIHT. He didn't put the G in there. So for Quick to like really dissect that, is DJ Quick a lyricist in your opinion?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
Okay,
I think he's a great writer.
Right.
I think he sets the scene really well.
Okay.
I think he knows how to tell a great story.
Right.
I don't think he's a lyricist.
Would you say he's one of the best rapper producers
for sure
of all time?
For sure. As far as the level of skill he has on both sides, because he's a really good rapper and he's an amazing producer.
He's a better rapper than Dr. Dre.
I think he's a better rapper than RZA.
I totally agree.
So I would say
I totally agree. And RZA's a dope rapper, but you're right.
Yeah,
you're right.
Like skill for skill, Quick skill level in both is very high.
Yeah, he's under Kanye.
Yes,
but he's above like a Timbaland.
Yeah,
a Dr. Dre
for sure.
Or
he laps them. For sure.
Yeah.
Like I would say, the best of the best would be like Kanye.
Right.
Would be the Pharrells.
Right.
There's this J. Cole, all of them stuff. Yeah. So there's a lot of guys that have that dual skill. Quick is definitely up there for both. I would say now that I listen to the song again it's too long.
You found it too long.
It's too long.
You said that a couple times on this album.
Yeah, there's some songs that are like 5 minutes long. Like, the one entire verse can go. It's just not needed.
Do you think you feel that now because songs now are generally shorter?
So songs now are generally shorter, but I'd still listen to artists that have 4 or 5 minute songs. So I don't think that's the issue. I just think you have to do more.
Right.
And the beat doesn't carry that long
to enthral the
like it doesn't keep you
to keep it
the entire last verse. Some of the stuff that he says is fucked up. Like this really serious homophobia, like the dick sucking part and piss in your face and shit like that. Like
I remember listening to that.
The rest of it is
I've never had a guy, but you'll be the first.
Right before I had to shoot and piss in your face.
But he was the first one to say that anyway.
Definitely not.
In that time frame.
Definitely not. But the rest of it is so clever.
It's very.
And then the last one is just like, I'm just gonna say horrible shit to you.
Right.
So it would have been a 5 if you asked me in 1995. 2025, it is going to get a 4.
Okay, I give it a solid 3.5. Just because the beat, once again, for me, is not tough enough for a song those
Very
type of lyrics.
interesting.
Yeah. So number 13 is called The Eulogy.
Yeah.
It's got two rappers that I've never heard of. Slip Capone and CPO.
AKA Boss Hog.
That's right. AKA Boss Hog. You're absolutely right. And not the original Boss Hog from Duke of Hazzard, not that bastard, but and not the future Boss Hog who was Slim Thug.
Yes.
Anyways, it's I don't know what the hell this is. Well, I'll tell you, it's probably for the 2 out of 5, and I'm just being really nice.
Yeah. Again, makes no sense why the song is on here. I didn't like it at all. I don't think Crump has a verse. I think it's just on the hook.
No, yeah, he's not even credited.
Yeah.
But you're right. Maybe
I would give it a 2 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're being nice as well.
Yeah. I just don't see a reason to put the song on there.
Track number 14. Oh, horny. And like I said, like we come from a generation where pop that coochie, put it in your mouth. We had some racy songs, but the songs were good. This ain't one of them. For me, anyway. It's got so the artist is called B. Rizal.
Yeah,
I'm pronouncing that right.
Yeah.
For me, it's a extremely bad R. Kelly impersonation. That's what I got out of it. Like he's trying, but he ain't going anywhere. Like it's bad. It's not the worst thing I've heard on the album, but it's not great. It's a filler track. I give it 2 out of 5, and I'm not going to say anything else on it because it doesn't deserve it.
I like the hook.
Wow.
The melody of the hook.
Shocking.
Yeah, I feel like they did. I feel like they nailed the melody of the hook. That's the only thing
Were
that they
you
nailed.
extra high when you were making that? Because your judgment is very good when you're high. So were you extra high?
I think I was a little bit stoned. Yeah, because
A little bit. What does that mean? For you, that's different.
because when
I can be a little bit stoned.
when you hear the hook,
Yeah.
it's the hook that you could use now on a song, and it would still work because it's really easy
You're not wrong.
and the melody's decent.
Well, like I said, it is an arc. Like I feel like it was kind of like that kind of
for sure.
a
All these guys.
You're right. The hook. You're not wrong.
But
The hook.
the song is pretty ass.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's the the lipstick on a pig type thing. That's
Totally.
this is the lipstick on a pig.
Totally.
I gotta give it a 2.
Okay. Good. Perfect.
Yeah.
So we're gonna round off the album with the last track called "East Side, West Side" by the Young Soldiers. And when Soldiers is spelled with a Z in the hip hop world, you think, yeah, it's tough. This ain't it.
Oh my lord!
What did Charlemagne say to what did he say? Yeah, to the mark. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. That's what I want. Like, if we could throw up like that's what I would. It's horrible.
Holy
The beat fades. Do you know where that beat is from?
Yeah, no Vaseline.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So the beat is good because it's just a no Vaseline beat. But
Yeah.
even further, it's a copy from a 70s funk song,
Yes.
which no Vaseline copied. But the beat is good. So it's nostalgic in that sense, which saved the track. But the chorus is so horrible. I don't know. And it's funny because when I read the online reviews, they're giving this thing 4.5, 4 out of. Yeah, it's a really good. And I'm like, do you guys know hip hop? Like, what are you, a 60-year-old grandpa from Wisconsin who's making this allegation? It's because it's really fucking bad. It's bad. The chorus is bad. Everything is bad. I hope Young Soldiers. I hope if you're listening, I hope you never released an album because you didn't deserve to. And when the producer of the song is called Big Will Lil Stretch, that's on to the next. Like JB, I give it a 2, and that's just because of the beat. If it didn't have the no Vaseline beat, it would have been a fucking era, which is now new to the podcast.
Yes. I want to give it less because they use the beat. How dare you use this beat and do such a horrible job with it? Again, the hook is disgusting. This is one of those songs, like, when you hear a really, really good song,
Yeah.
and you make that stink face, like, ooh, this
Yeah,
is good.
yeah.
This is one of those songs that you just make a face like,
Agreed.
what?
Yeah. It should come with a vomit bag.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Bad song.
Yeah.
Bad writing.
Yes.
Hooks terrible.
Thank you.
They did nothing on the song at all.
Absolutely.
It did not need to be there. This sounds like they had to do somebody a favor and they had to put them on the album. This is a solid one.
And you're being generous. And you're being
somebody will get a 0 one day.
or even if we might have to go with the negatives. I mean, we might have to if it's that bad. So that's it. Murder Was the Case soundtrack. Iconic then, still iconic now.
Still iconic now. Yeah. Those songs that are the bangers are still the bangers.
Agreed.
I don't think they've lost any of their fire or their feeling. They feel just as great as they did back then.
100%.
There's something about that era of hip hop that just the sounds that they used, they just don't diminish. They just never sound dated. Like there's music hip hop from that era that now sounds very dated. But what Death Row did, dated. Again, shout out to Daz.
Huge shout out
to Daz.
Huge shout out to Daz.
MVP of the West Coast.
100%.
Some of the greatest production. Even now, even now, when you hear Daz's production on new artists' albums, he hasn't lost a step.
He hasn't.
I wish they just let him do the Dogg Pound albums. Don't bring anybody else on.
You don't need anybody else.
Daz corrupt. Let Daz produce it.
Who knows the sound better than him?
Nobody.
You know what? Saying that, if he had done some production on Missionary, totally different album.
Yeah.
We would have gotten that West Coast.
If you got Dad and Warren G.
Yes.
Through the Missionary camp, that album could have been something.
Warren G.
Yeah.
100%.
Super underrated, super underappreciated. Starting to get some of his due now.
Right.
But again, another architect of that G-Funk sound.
Totally.
And I think him and Daz had like a real great synergy when they were in the studio, because Warren G was around all those sessions.
Yep.
But this is a big homage to Daz.
100%. So final thoughts. I give the album. I agree with everything Alite said. It stood up then. It really stands up now, especially in a landscape now where soundtracks are not really relevant anymore. From the CD cover to the movie to the actual CD itself, which was like a bullet case. It was pretty cool.
Right.
Very well. I give it a solid 3.5 CDs out of 5.
Yeah, what's crazy, because there's like 6 good songs, 3 songs that are iconic. And it's rare to get an album that have 3 iconic songs. The only reason I think that it wouldn't get a higher score is because it is not one artist album. It's a compilation.
It's a compilation,
right?
Correct.
So it's not as cohesive as you would want from that era of music.
Correct.
I was kind of sitting in that 3.5 space, but just based off of the 3 iconic songs, it bumps it up to a 4.
It's funny because you say that, because I was struggling with the 3.5 to 4. I really was. Yeah. And at one point, it was at 4, and then I was like, we're here to tell you the truth. And those ones didn't stick well with me.
Those ones are damaging.
Yeah, and I was just like, I just can't do it. So, but still, overall,
great
solid album
from Death Row Records. Everyone that shined, everyone that was on the album, the icons shined.
Yeah,
Snoop sounded great. Nate Dogg sounded great. Daz corrupt. Jodeci, everyone that contributed to the album, they made waves, and they kind of had a stamp of that era of music.
100%.
That nobody will ever forget.
No, and these artists were very hungry. This is a time where they were all hungry, trying to get on, doing their best work.
Yes.
And we as listeners got to hear just amazing work. So there you have it. There's a review for Murder Was the Case. Before we go, if you don't mind, I got some headlines from this past couple of weeks that I wanted to quickly talk about. So we like to talk about some hip-hop news once in a while.
Yes.
Hot 97.
Yes.
Some of you don't know, Hot 97, iconic radio station from New York. Specifically hip-hop and R&B since the early 90s. And you don't see that. A hip-hop station, like Power 105 came later in the 90s, but Hot 97 is iconic, right?
For sure.
It's just...
You're a hip-hop artist and you get a Hot 97, that's like a bucket list achievement.
They produced some of the greatest DJs of all time. And artists. Angie Martinez. He became an icon and an artist.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Funkmaster Flex, whether you like him or not. Iconic. Right?
Yeah. Bombs. Not bombs.
Mr. C. It goes on again and again. Anyway, so Hot 97, they recently released their 3 Mount Rushmores for hip hop, and they categorized 3 categories. So we are going to quickly discuss this, and if you guys have feedback, please comment.
Throw in the comments.
The first one is the Mount Rushmore for the. So can you explain what Mount Rushmore is?
So
You
Mount
probably
Rushmore
have-
is a landmark in the U.S. That is essentially the four, in America's eyes, the four greatest presidents. People have been using it for ever since
correct.
to give their top four greatest of whatever category
Right.
that it is. And what the fuck did these guys do?
So four, as the lead said. So their first one was the Mount Rushmore of the greatest New York rapper of all time. So they picked Jay, Big, Nas, and Jadakiss.
Wow.
So what are your thoughts on that? And then I will proceed.
It's hard for me to put Big there
Because
because
body of work.
just because of the body of work.
Okay, fair enough.
Jay obviously got to be there. I don't know how you have a New York 4 and Rakim is not there. That's crazy to me.
Very good point.
So I think Rakim has to be on there. I'm okay with Nas being on there.
You're actually contemplating Nas?
Yeah, because like Nas never really. I think we said this before. Nas never really moved the needle for me.
But I mean, but as a New York rapper,
Right? Because then if you're looking at
better than Nas.
so if you're looking at it as a New York rapper, then Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Is like the epitome of what that era, what that means.
Correct.
So you got Jay, makes total sense. I would say Rakim, it just makes sense.
Yep.
What about KRS-One?
Okay, so can I butt in for a second?
100%.
I think the reason why Rakim and KRS get left behind is because they were greater as being part of a collective than as a solo artist.
So you think? I mean,
Boogie Down Productions
right.
is much stronger than KRS being a solo act.
But
Eric B and Rakim is much stronger than Rakim on his own.
But did Eric B do anything?
No, he did it. You're right. But it's like RZA and Wu-Tang. He didn't do anything really, but he's part of the collective, and he's more famous. That Bobby Digital was horrible. So
That'll be a fun one to do.
So I think people, when they're making this choice, they're like, "Oh yeah, Rakim," and then they're like Rakim, like, "Oh well, his solo album." I don't remember, but I remember Eric B and Rakim. So I think it's maybe some of that. I don't know.
That's really tough for me. It's really. I mean, Jadakiss is one of my favorite hip hop personalities.
Yeah,
I think he's incredible.
So he would be the youngest person and the newest artist on this month.
Yeah, which is I mean, he's a cool representation of New York.
Mm-hmm.
But what about X? DMX?
You know what? That's one that I thought of.
It's really tough, man.
Yeah,
really, really tough.
So you agree with Jay?
I agree with Jay.
You agree with Nas? You're not.
I'm not in the middle. I would say you got to put Rakim on there just because of how
that's
he
fair.
evolved the sound.
Did you say KRS-One?
I think KRS-One deserves that spot.
Okay.
And if you're gonna, because essentially what they're trying to do is give a bit of spread, the old generation, new generation.
I think so, but you know what? Ultimately, it should just be the four, whoever they are.
And I would say for the fourth one, I would go X. I'd go DMX.
That's a solid four.
Yeah.
I would go Nas.
Mhm.
I'm a Nas fan, but I mean Nas is New York.
Yes.
I mean he's just New York.
Yeah, New York State of Mind.
Okay. Jay, Big. I mean I'm a big fan, but I mean you're right. A volume of work, not as much, but I mean the work that he did is still iconic. The last one, I mean Kiss is great, but then if you're gonna talk about Kiss, then you got to talk about Prodigy.
Yes, that's fair comparison,
Right?
That's absolutely.
I mean, he's New York till the end,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
I mean, I'm not mad at KRS-One. See, for me,
Sham's over there saying Chuck D.
Chuck D.
And shout out to Chuck D. I think everybody knows how we feel about Chuck D. I think the only reason he wouldn't get on this, for me personally, is because post mid '90s, they just didn't do. Public Enemy just didn't have a lot of material, so they didn't. They didn't really evolve into this next generation of music.
You're right.
The way some of the other artists on the list have.
And I think Chuck, with his political take on things, he was bigger than just the East Coast.
Big time.
Right?
Global.
He was
Global.
universal.
Yeah.
The fourth one, I don't know. I think that's another one. I mean, Big L is a good one. He's totally he's revered, but no. I mean, if you're talking about Biggie with work, Big Ultimate less than that. One album.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know,
A mixtape.
yeah. I would put DMX, and I would replace Kiss with DMX, and you know that's a fair Rough Riders trade,
Big
right?
time. Because the X's quality of work, the
Yes.
first 4 albums,
Yeah.
my goodness. I just can't wait to talk about some X's material because, like,
It's gonna be good.
I think for me, after he passed, I went back and listened to all of his music again too. It's like, this guy was really incredible. In the beginning, I kind of was a little reserved with X because I felt like he was like a pop rebirth.
Right.
I was like,
And then we saw Ja Rule, and we're like, oh,
biting pop style.
Yeah.
But obviously, X doesn't bite anybody's style.
No.
He's his own thing altogether.
and he wasn't even that much of a pop fan in that sense. Like he even said,
Yeah, I
I
like
didn't really listen to pop.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give us your top 4 for New York.
East Coast.
Please. Okay, so the second of 3 is the Mount Rushmore of West Coast rap. Okay. And this hits us a little bit harder because
It's going to be so hard.
West Coast was our first introduction to hip hop, and I think it is our first love in that sense, right?
Yeah.
I guess or we have more. There's something more to West Coast for us, anyways. To me, anyways, for sure. So therefore, were Tupac, Cube, Dre, and Snoop. Now, right off the bat, this is wrong.
Yes.
I'm gonna go first. Now, this is gonna be controversial, people. Not like I already haven't done things earlier, but Tupac, no. For the simple fact, he's not a West Coast. He did West Coast at the end, but he also did East Coast. So you can't put a pinch. You can't do a switch hitter.
Okay, so before you go anywhere else,
Oh, here we go.
if Pac's considered East Coast,
I didn't say that.
okay,
I'm saying he's not considered. He's bi-coast, if anything, because you can't rap in the East for a couple of years and then come to the West and rap for a couple of years and then take a throne on the West Coast, knowing very well you didn't start and end in the West. Everybody we named in the New York section is New York till the end. Nas is not. They might be living in the West Coast, but they're not rapping the West Coast style. Pac literally switched up his flow. Not so much. He wasn't like totally West Coast,
you're right.
but he did a little bit. The production was more West Coast than his rapping was always great. But he did go West Coasty a little bit. And now some people can say, well, Master P did that. Master P went from Richmond, California, where he was doing West Coast stuff, especially Bay Area rap, and then all of a sudden he went to the South and started doing down South. Okay, fair enough. But you know what? We're not talking about Master P, and he ain't on the list. Tupac, for me, you're stretching it. It's a switch hitter. You can't put him up there. He's not an authentic West Coast rapper. We need to be. If you're gonna do our Mount Rushmore, you gotta be authentic. And as much as Pac did for the West Coast, and there's no denying it, he elevated West Coast hip hop to its highest form, and he repped it like nobody else. The W's, the clothing, the collabs with the West Coast rappers like Feeble, not even like the big rappers, right? Yeah, Spice One. So Pac's out. Dr. Dre, are you nuts? And I love Dr. Dre, but you must. Hot 97?
No, Dr. Dre.
You definitely are an East Coast hip hop radio station because you don't know anything what's happening. Dr. Dre, no. If we're talking producers, easy. Rapper, yeah, that ain't happening. Get him out of there. So Cube, I totally agree. This guy's West Coast till the end. Snoop is a tough one because like we were saying before, he's gone to the dark side and he ain't coming back. But we need to still separate.
Music stands alone,
right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna keep Snoop on the team.
Fair.
I'm gonna put Kendrick on there,
Nice.
and I'm gonna put Eazy-E.
Very nice. Very nice. I think that's very valid. It's really tough for me to take Pac off the West Coast, but you made a very good point.
I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Pac is my favorite artist favorite hip hop artist of all time.
Mine too.
Period. Point blank.
Mine
I
too.
don't put anybody above Pac.
Mine too.
So if we're gonna remove him from the West Coast, Mount Rushmore, sure, we can.
Well, I mean, you don't have to.
I think it's valid. I think it's valid.
Pleading my case.
I think if we're doing an all-time Rushmore, Pac's 100% got to be there.
Totally different.
So if we're doing West Coast only, Cube 1000%.
Right.
Don Mega.
And you're a huge Cube fan.
Personally, greatest West Coast rapper of all time for me. Personally, no one does it better than Cube.
So not an argument there.
Again, you're right with the Snoop thing. You cannot not put Snoop in that top four. Even though Pac was right all along. Pac never really fucked with Snoop from the beginning, right? Even though they made some great songs together.
A lot of tension. Now we know why.
Pac took shots at him from the very beginning.
Yep.
So, Pac. So Snoop's fuck.
Okay, so Snoop and Cube, you're keeping.
Snoop and Cube got
Right.
Okay. God, there's not a rapper. This next one is tough for me because I feel like it only makes sense to put Kendrick there. Kendrick's kind of brought the West Coast back.
I agree.
But the fourth one for me is tough because I'm thinking Eazy-E, but I'm also thinking The Game.
It's okay. Great minds think alike because I thought about The Game or Kendrick.
Yeah.
Because The Game was Kendrick before Kendrick.
Right.
In that sense.
As far as impact.
He resurrected the West Coast.
Yeah, for sure.
In 2000, in the mid 2000s.
Great run.
Because who was running West Coast rap in the mid 2000s?
There was nobody.
There wasn't. I think it was a guy named Gorilla Black.
Very quiet.
Had a little bit of heat, but not really.
Yeah.
It wasn't really.
No, West is very quiet.
So Game comes out, and this is not, and it's not just because of the Dr. Dre backing. He could rap.
And he could make hits.
Rap.
And he can make hits.
He can make hits.
Right? Like, he's a gangster rapper that can make hit songs.
It's true.
And that combination is tough.
It's
50 Cent's another one of those examples.
Yeah.
So for me, it's The Game or Easy. And
but then there's no Game without Easy.
Right. There's nobody without Easy.
Right. But you're right. So Game is a solid choice.
So if I'm putting a KRS one in my East Coast, I gotta put Easy on the West Coast. Nice. So it'd be Easy, Cube, Snoop, and Kendrick.
And Game would be an honorable mention.
Game would 1000% be an honorable mention.
Yeah, I like that list.
Yeah.
Okay, the last one that Top 97 came up with is the greatest rapper of all time. So not the lyricist, not whatever, just rapper. So whether they write their lyrics or not, whether they're whatever their background is, greatest rapper of all time. And you know what? This is one that I really liked. So you Hot 97, you got this one pretty right. Because this is solid. Tupac, Big, Eminem, and Lil Wayne.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, I agree with Tupac.
100%. Yeah.
Now
interesting list.
Interesting list. I'm I was late on him. This man here was early on him, and for the longest time he used to solicitate him, and I just wouldn't believe it. I was like, nah. And then I finally, 2009 recovery relapse, I saw the Junior, and then I was like, okay, I see it, and I'm a fan. He's definitely one of the greatest rappers of all time. You can't deny that. Lil Wayne, I mean, he's one of the greatest rappers of all time. He really is. I mean, and Big is one of the greatest rappers of all time. But if we don't pick these four, who are the other greatest? Jay-Z. Yeah. You could say Nas. You could say Kanye West. You could say Scarface.
You can make an argument for.
You could say Andre 3000.
Okay, but now
see. Yeah,
so
right.
They're particular,
right?
Because we're doing rappers,
right? You could say Easy again.
Yeah. So if we're doing rappers,
you say D-Mac.
We're not doing lyricists.
Okay. Do you agree with Tupac?
100%.
Let's do this together.
Absolutely.
Do you agree with Tupac?
Yes.
Okay. Do you agree with Big?
No.
Okay. Do you agree with M?
No.
Do you agree with Lil Wayne?
No.
Okay. So what are your alternatives?
So those three gotta go. Yeah. I would replace them with Jay-Z.
Agree.
So it's gonna be Pac.
We're two up for two.
Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Ice Cube.
Fourth one. Ice Cube. Okay.
This fourth one's gonna be tough. Fourth one's gonna be so tough.
Yeah. It's tough. It's tough in general.
It's tough because Now I gotta start thinking coasts and who I'm missing in the coasts because we're just thinking rappers, right?
Yeah, but don't let that blind your decision because this is not coastal.
Yeah.
This is just whatever. Who are the greatest rappers?
Okay,
of
so
all
for me, the four greatest
They could
rappers
all
of
be
all
from the
time.
West Coast. I mean,
So the four greatest rappers of all time for me are just how they make me feel
right,
about their music.
right.
I'm not counting lyrics. I'm not counting any of those things. This is just the overall rapper, the overall package of the rapper, how what they brought to the game, and what that did for me.
I think you nailed it on the head. That's very significant. So it's not fully subjective.
Yeah.
It's also what did they bring to the game,
Yes.
or what have they brought to the game.
Yes. And for me, the fourth one's going to be a little wild. People are probably think I'm crazy, but Master P.
You're not crazy at all, and I love that. You know what? I love that.
Jay-Z, Cube, and Master P.
So why Master P?
Because Master P made me believe in wild shit can happen. Master P made me believe that you could be committed to a dream and you could bring it to life in whatever way you want.
Right.
Music, movies, whatever you want to do. Master P made me see it. Like he showed it to us.
Right.
He's like, yo, I come from nowhere.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what Calio Projects is.
Nope.
Nobody knows anything about New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm going to show you where I'm from, and we're going to change the game. And the volume of our albums, the 30 million albums in 1 year that they sold, no limit sold, and then the About It movie, the things that he did for me as an artist, I'll never forget. Like his impact on me as an artist is more than music. So if we're talking greatest rapper, I'm taking the whole package as an artist. Master P has to be there.
And he was a pretty good rapper.
I like issue with the rapping.
He wrote all his raps. He wasn't Jay-Z.
No,
but he could be tough,
super fun rapper. Great beat choices, great song structures.
He could do hooks pretty good.
Dude, the songs that we listened to back then, my young kids listen to now, like Bourbons and Lax, is on Tia's playlist.
Nice.
Pop listens to so much of Ty listens to so much of Master P's music.
That's dope.
So
I love to hear that.
It's more than just that era. Like
he's bigger than the music.
He's so much bigger.
So just to recap: Master P, Q, Pac, and Jay.
Yeah.
Pac for me, Jay for me, Master P for me, and the fourth one is going to be 50 Cent.
Ooh.
And that was tough because my two backups were Eazy-E again, and Lil Wayne. Because Lil Wayne for me was very impactful.
Wow.
He went from like I've loved every phase of Lil Wayne.
Right.
The Hot Boys phase, the early solo, the harder solo, the lyricist, the young, like every
Wayne's amazing.
Right.
Amazing.
But 50 Cent, you're talking about the game, bringing that West Coast. 50 Cent brought back gangster rap.
Yes.
And he brought it, and he literally demolished a record label, not just an artist. And even Irvin Ja finally had to admit a couple years ago in an interview that he won.
I've heard them talk about in the clubs, and then like the second we heard that, we're like,
it's done. Jay-Z said to his crew, he said, you guys better put out as much music as possible because 50 Cent is coming and he's going to shut shit down.
Yes. And then the other, that's a good call. I mean, personally, I love 50 Cent. 50 Cent's dope. I was never the fan of the Bully.
Yeah.
But because I disliked Ja as much as 50 Cent did, it made it okay.
Yeah. I'm a bully. And I like bully rap.
So we got similar lists.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of, I got Q, I got 50.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. So there you have it. And please comment or rate R4 and give us any kind of feedback.
You're not going to like some of these choices.
No, you're not.
Give us yours. Let's see if you do it better.
Yeah.
We're doing it on the spot, thinking about all these artists over 40 years of music.
Exactly.
And it leads us to a really fun revisit to 90s gangster rap.
100%.
Fantastic.
So that's it for me.
Make sure you hit the subscribe on the page.
Please.
Make sure you do the Facebook. It's high phrase on all it's _ high phrase on all platforms. This is the 90s till Infinity podcast. I'm Alite.
I'm Riz.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.